And hello everyone, welcome to the Bottom Shelf Nerds Marvel MCU in Review. This is Phase 3. This is our third episode. I think it's going to be maybe our middle episode because we should have a post-Endgame review to do, and then possibly a little Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Cap video to do. So, on the cast today, we're actually back to our full crew. I'm Thomas, aka Mr. Warburg. Alongside us, per the first episode, is Chris.
Yo.
And we got Mr. Fusion.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, he's back now. Don't worry.
I'm back.
Yeah. I got someone else to, just talk forever on, so it's not just me dominating the whole conversation, because I've rewatched episode 2. I talked a lot. And then, rounding out our quartet is my Bottom Shelf Nerds companion, Mr. Joey Lee.
What's up?
And we also have a super secret special guest, who, if he needs to pop on to break a tie, we're going to dub our Bottom Shelf Nerds Living Tribunal, which is a fun little MCU callback for everybody. Because technically the Living Tribunal has a staff that's in Phase 3. Also, it's like a outside the universe, like judge kind of thing. It's weird. It's like one of the more comic booky things in Marvel, is the whole Living Tribunal and the Beyonder and all that stuff. Wait, there's Beyonder DC.
Beyonder is DC, yes.
Shit. I'm crossing up. There's another one with the Living Tribunal.
Squirrel Girl.
No, the Monitor is DC. Shit.
I'm crossing all my like extra universal villains, antagonist characters. But that's a whole nother topic of conversation. We're here to talk about Phase 3, and oh my god, do we have so many movies to get through.
So many.
It's too many.
Oh, a lot of movies.
There's so many movies
list.
in Phase 3. There's 9 movies, plus going to be Endgame, and plus Spider-Man Far From Home, which we'll get to individually. This is just through, essentially, Captain Marvel. That's where we're going. Captain America Civil War, to the other Captain Marvel. That's the run of the movies that we're doing right now. We're going to give a brief snippet of each movie, talk about our thoughts, kind of some mini reviews, give its basic facts, like when did it come out, how much did it make, the usual works, but just like a super condensed review. And I'm changing up the voting format, which I didn't tell our cast until like literally right now. So I hope they're paying attention.
Whoa.
All right. And I did tell our guest, so he's aware of this. But I forgot to tell everybody else, which is my fault as the host.
Hey, we'll get to it when we get to it.
So instead of voting at the end, I was rewatching and I realized, man, everything really happens in the last 15 minutes. We should vote on each movie while we're reviewing each movie. Compare it to the whole, and then update the list accordingly as we go.
Okay.
Make sense?
All right.
Yeah.
The format of how we vote, being like, is it better than this? Is it better than this? That'll stay the same. We're just moving to when it happens, essentially.
All right.
Okay.
Gotcha.
And speaking of that list, I've got here our through Phase 2 rankings, which we'll have up on the screen too. So in case you're listening, like whether this is in the background or not, our current MCU ranking, from bottom to top, of course, is the following. Clocking in at number 12 is Iron Man 2. Number 11 is The Incredible Hulk. Number 10, Iron Man 3. 9, Thor: The Dark World. 8 is Thor. 7 is Captain America: The First Avenger. 6 is Avengers: Age of Ultron. 5 is Ant-Man. 4, Iron Man. 3, The Avengers. 2, Guardians of the Galaxy. And number 1, Captain America: The Winter Soldier. I also just realized my mic wasn't going, and now it is. So, cool. I must have accidentally hit stop and didn't realize it. I need a 4th monitor. I got too much shit going on.
I need more!
I just got too much shit. I'll make it work in post.
Lord.
Don't worry.
All right.
The first, 5 minutes might sound weird, but it'll work. Trust me.
All right.
Or don't. I haven't really given people that much confidence in my editing abilities.
Oh, Lord.
I mean, if you watched our Just BSing podcast, you'd know what I'm talking about. There was a whole 2 minutes where I just forgot to have the desktop video showing.
I remember that.
Yep, we were watching the trailer and I just forgot to show the trailer because I'm like,
where's the fucking video?
That's live.
Was that the Joker trailer? I think that was the Joker trailer.
Yeah, it was the Joker trailer. Yeah.
Oh, I have so many things to say about that, but that's not the
Ooh.
podcast.
All right, I'll talk to you.
Save it for the
about this.
DC podcast.
Yeah.
Well, you can save it for Just BSing when I inevitably have one of you guys on or both of you to guest.
Hell yeah.
Because that's going to be... I have some plans for that post Game of Thrones, because mostly episodes 1 through 6 are going to be pretty heavily on Game of Thrones.
Yeah, because it's currently what's going on. What up?
All right, so
Major
let's
News.
just get on into the movies, because like I said, we got 9 movies to get through,
Yeah.
and we got a couple people with some time constraints. So let's get into this shit.
I'm stretching.
Starting off Phase 3, we had essentially Avengers 2.5 in Captain America Civil War. This launched, or released, I should say, at least in America, on May 6, 2016. The box office totaled in at $1,153 million,
Fuck.
which is a whole lot of money.
So much.
So essentially, like I said, it's basically Avengers 2.5. So it went Avengers Age of Ultron, Ant-Man to round out Phase 2, and then Captain America Civil War. The third and final solo, quote-unquote solo Captain America movie, even though it's definitely more of an ensemble movie than any of his previous ones. Again, from the Russo brothers, who have now basically become, like, the modern best directors of all time. Like, the stuff they've done in the MCU alone, holy shit. So good.
Yeah.
Since I've dominated a bunch of the intro at this point, and we're onto our first movie, let's hear what some of our cast and crew think of this particular movie. I'll start with you, Fusion. What do you got?
Well, do I start by telling you where it is on my list, my rankings?
Oh, no. We're going to,
Okay.
what did we most like about this movie?
Okay.
Some awesome scenes.
Okay.
Like our favorite characters, moments.
Sure.
Quotes.
Well, it goes without saying. Well, I'm going to say it. We had two really big debuts in the MCU, and that was the Black Panther and Spider-Man, and Tom Holland's Spider-Man, which were great entries into the MCU. This is one of my favorites in this phase, and mostly it's surrounded around the fact that let's get this out of the way. The fucking bromance. I get why it's there between Winter Soldier and Captain America, just like with Star Trek Into Darkness, the Spock and Kirk thing. But what I really loved about this was they added a dimension to Tony Stark and Iron Man in this film, a darker side to him, and that's what I really bought into, because we got the hokey, slapstick, kind of snarky Stark for 5-6 films at that point, and then all of a sudden we had a heel turn, like in wrestling, the nomenclature is a heel turn where they go bad, and that's what I really liked about it, was because Robert Downey Jr. is an unbelievable actor. Goes without saying, he's a great actor, and we saw him go out of his element in terms of like a really different Tony Stark, and that's something I really loved. And Tom Holland was great in this movie, so it's one of my top ones. I'll be honest, but I think the only thing I would really complain about would be the lack of Baron Zemo. Not enough of him. For him to be the bad guy of the film, that was my biggest problem. Was not enough of him.
And a very stark departure from Zemo's characterization in the comics too.
Of course.
But yeah, his comic incarnation's fucking weird.
Yeah, very weird.
Like got his face melted into
in...
like a mask, and he's got a sword, and he wears all of his purple. It's weird.
Well, he was undercover. He led the Thunderbolts, which was a quasi anti-hero group that became a hero group for the government, kind of like X Factor in the comics. But yeah, and then all of a sudden you find out, the leader is Baron Zemo this whole time. Okay, he was a bad guy for like the first 40 fucking years of comic books, of his comic presence, So yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the conflict wasn't so much with Zemo as it just was between the group itself. And I mean, he was the catalyst to that. That's what his goal was.
Yeah.
So it kind of made sense that he wasn't in it so much. But for the little bit that I saw of him, I don't know him from the comics or anything. I'm not the comics guy. I just watch the movies, because movies versus reading, I'm going to go with movies. But I really liked his character. I think he was a really interesting character, and he has like this really strategic mind in the movie, and I love that type of villain who's able to outthink and outplan the heroes and them not even really know what's going on. So I liked him as a character, and yeah, I would agree that I think more of him would have been real awesome.
So let me ask you, Chris. So let's say we take out a little bit of the Carters, Sharon and Peggy, just to shave that whole story off just a bit and put in more Zemo. Would you have felt like, hey, that I could have done with that, or felt like it was good the way it was with Peggy Carter passing and that element being added into it?
Yeah, I don't honestly see too much impact of that story, the Carter story, in the movie or even in the rest of the universe at this point. It honestly, what it did was, now we have a love interest for Cap. There you go. Here you go. We'll throw that in there. It was just kind of like a side thing. I mean,
yeah,
it was there.
I think the Peggy passing actually kind of pushes Cap more towards what he wanted to do, because I feel like he's kind of deciding if he should sign the Accords or if he shouldn't, and he's kind of leaning towards it. But like, I think people are bringing up good advice, like Black Widow was on the side of Tony and stuff like that. But Peggy passing, and what's her name giving the speech, kind of pushed him. Sharon, kind of pushed him in the direction like, no, I'm not going to sign the Accords. Really, kind of set him in that kind of tone. I believe.
No, I totally agree with that, but I also think that either way, he was going to go that route no matter what.
Okay.
I don't think there really needed to be that push.
Also, I just want to cut in and say, Fusion, did you just like bring up the Kirk Spock thing in reference to Star Trek Into Darkness instead of like all the other actually good Star Trek with Kirk and Spock? I'm a little disappointed in you right now.
It's not a bad movie. Star Trek Into Darkness is not a bad movie.
You could have at least gone Wrath of Khan. Out of respect
No,
to that.
but hold on. Wrath of Khan, because you had Nimoy and you had Shatner.
Well, yeah, you had the best
friendship.
versions of their characters.
It wasn't a bromance. It was a friendship. They really like modeled it after kind of this. I don't know, younger generation emo style of bromance, I guess is the way to say it for Into Darkness. That was kind of It was a little too much for me. I'm gonna be honest with you, a little too much.
Okay. I get where you're coming from now.
Yeah.
I get where you're coming from. Joey, you got anything
now,
else
and I like what they did in Beyond. I know this is becoming a Star Trek podcast. I liked how they handled their friendship in Beyond.
Beyond is fantastic. It's one of my favorite Star Trek movies. We should do a whole Star Trek podcast, by the way. I'd be down for that. It'd be fucking awesome. Because I still need to watch Discovery. Yes, we should do this. Joey, what else you got for Civil War?
Not much really. Just that I don't know, the fight scenes between everyone I thought was pretty good. The introduction of Spider-Man, when Tony goes and finds him, I thought was pretty cool.
Another one of those
kind of
things
I
wish they hadn't put it in the trailer.
Yeah, that would have been great.
Oh, they did put your. See, I don't even don't watch trailers.
Yeah, you never do.
Yeah, so that's the whole thing.
Which is weird. We made a whole thing. We have a whole segment on our Just BSing podcast called "Fuck It, We'll Do It Live." Well, Joey will watch the trailer, but the first two have been me watching shit,
which is surprising.
Yeah, and Joey's one that never watches it.
Did you? No, I thought it was a pretty good fight scene. I thought the fusion bolt to shoot down the ship was kind of weird when it knocked Warhammer out.
War Machine.
War Machine. Sorry, yeah. Warhammer.
What are we talking about? Powers now? Trip Hammer?
Well, I just thought it was just like, why would he take such a long shot, knowing that it would be very risky and stuff like that?
Well, that's the point. Is he was?
I thought it was a missed call on his.
It was a bad call because he was emotionally compromised. Which is the first time he'd ever been emotionally compromised.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But, so my notes are real quick. Number one, did you like Chris Evans in an elevator? Well, fuck, here's a helicopter. Awesome.
Dude.
Scene. Oh, my God. So good. Black Panther being the man of mystery, badass kind of character on the side. Awesome introduction to his character and, like, his whole suit and how how he fights. It all comes across really, really well and does directly translate. Like, they do a good job taking off in Black Panther where the Russo brothers left the character.
Yeah.
Which I think is a testament to how good the Russo brothers did, just right off the bat with essentially a side character. Spider-Man introduction, awesome. Another one of those trailer moments that, man, if they had been able to keep that secret,
dude,
everyone in the theater would have lost their fucking shit.
Yeah.
Everyone. It'd have been one of the coolest moments ever, much like what we will get later with Ragnarok, again, spoiled in the trailer, when they didn't need to. But the whole thing.
Yeah.
And Bucky and Sam are so good together that 4 years later they're getting a show. They are hilarious. They just are constantly giving each other shit. Like I would say the Bucky Cap relationship is not more of a bromance. That's more Bucky and Sam. Where it's like Bucky and Cap are like actually friends, and he's like, I'm not sure this is worth all this to you. And then like making jokes about, hey, we're both 100 years old, dude. Though their jokes are like reminiscing about the past and stuff. Really, really cool. And man, that airport scene, holy shit, it's just so good. When Ant-Man goes big, becomes Giant Man or whatever.
Giant Man.
So good.
Does anyone have some orange slices?
Did anyone else holding back a shocking and revelatory power?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, little dude's big now. Little dude's big.
So good. And the whole you guys ever seen that really old movie, Empire?
How old is this kid?
I don't know. I didn't carbon date him. Just such good dialogue. And another movie from the Russos where essentially the protagonist, Captain America, because it's his movie, he loses. And then their next movie, same thing. Same emotional kind of core to the end of the good guys lose. At least how they kind of frame it at the end is that, Cap was right. He's the good guy here. And then he loses anyway.
Right.
And like how it's how they splinter everybody up is really, really cool. Even Hawkeye gets some awesome lines, which is great because he's got shit to do since Ultron when he was maybe the best character. But that's a whole nother topic of conversation about they're shortchanging people from Iowa, but that's a whole thing. Leave it alone. But yeah, that's pretty much all I had on the movie.
I think one more thing is we got our first and only return cast from the Incredible Hulk.
Oh yeah,
in this movie
we did.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Thunderbolt Ross comes back as Secretary of State, which is, I think, a really cool nod to a movie that they can't do anything with because Universal's assholes. At least in terms of sharing with Marvel, because they don't need to. They have the leverage because they have Fast and Furious, so they don't need the money. But yeah, that was a really cool, like, kind of reintroduction of a character with a different role in the universe now, which I really liked. Yeah. So, let's vote on this one, shall we?
Okay.
All right.
Let's do it.
So, we're going to go down what we do on this show if you've never seen our podcast. Essentially, I'll just ask, is it better than the movie at the top? And then we'll go down the list. And if everyone says, yes, it's better than this movie, that's the slot it sticks in.
Didn't we start from the bottom last time?
No, we start from the top.
I thought
we did not.
Okay.
Everything just slots down accordingly. Let me pull up my template here so I can edit on the fly. Also, don't like how Photoshop, it looks different now. I can't see my layers anymore, which is starting to really piss me off. Oh, there they are.
I don't use it anymore.
All right, it's under channels now. Which is weird.
They changed layers to channels?
It's weird. It's there. It's like
what the
really
fuck?
Weird. Okay, Photoshop's up. I'm not dropping frames. Perfect. I was worried about that, but okay. So, number one on the list right now is another Captain America movie, The Winter Soldier. So, is Captain America Civil War better than Captain America The Winter Soldier? What does everyone think? We're going to go down the list. We'll start with Fusion.
I'm going to say no.
Okay.
Obviously.
Chris?
No.
All right. Joey?
No.
I was going to vote yes, but I'm outvoted, so it automatically, we're down on the slot 2 now.
Interesting.
Okay.
Interesting. You're the one who always says Winter Soldier's like the best movie.
They're seriously on each other's level, and I think it's weird if I view them as purely just Captain America movies. Yeah, Winter Soldier's better. If I view it as Avengers basically 2.5, bridging Ultron to Infinity War Endgame, I think it's better. But that depends on the perspective with which you're going in it. For me.
Okay.
But if that makes sense. But that's a moot point because we're on to slot 2. Is it better than Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one? Fusion.
No.
Damn. Chris.
I'm about to say no.
Joey.
I'm a yes.
I'm also a yes. So we have our first opportunity to bring on our Living Tribunal.
Uh-oh,
So
here we go.
Let me get him in the call. I did not expect
think
early.
this was the first movie that we were going to do this.
We're at first fucking movie already. Jeez.
Shit, how do you... We just drag him in? I've never added someone while the call was in progress.
I think in the top right, there's the add friends to DM.
Nope, there it is. Yep. It was just too gray.
Just
All right.
slip into the DMs.
If he's ready, I want to ask him, because I'm live streaming this to him, so if he's ready, I'll get him in here.
Really bad drum roll.
Oh, he's ready. Here we go.
Your fingers.
We're about to be graced with the presence of the Living Tribunal.
What say you? Oh, Lord.
That's right. I am here to fix these problems. You boys got 4 people on this podcast. 4 people. 2 of you are wrong. 2 of you dead wrong. That's why you need me. You need Rooster Teeth Zone. You need Inside Gaming Zone. Aaron Porter. I'm coming to fix these problems. Let's fix this. First off, we're all correct except for Wartburg. Civil War is not better than Winter Soldier. That's very
I'm
important.
okay with that judgment, sir. I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Civil War. Also not better than Guardians of the Galaxy. Keep bumping it down.
Yes, I'll have it.
All right.
The
One
tribunal
agreement.
has spoken.
Okay, all right. If the tribunal would indulge us as we continue on our list, we'll see if it's better than our slot 3, which is currently the Avengers. So, can a movie that came out 4 years later be better? We'll find out. Fusion, is Captain America: Civil War better than the Avengers?
I'm going to say yes, it is.
Ooh, all right. We got our first final yes vote that's not from me and Joey. Chris, what do you got?
I'm doubling down on the yes.
Okay, and Joey.
Oh, all right. I guess it passes because it's a yes.
It's also a yes for me.
All right.
Does this
All
please
right.
the tribunal?
It pleases me.
I'm just imagining your webcam right now, and I'm sure it's hilarious.
It's a lot of me taking notes, to be honest.
That's okay.
He's
Yeah.
got the spreadsheets working. He's got Excel up. You know.
Wait, he's tracking all the multiple
I
realities.
gotta keep all this in check. I have a very important job here to
Yeah.
make sure that you wrong people suddenly find the light, that you find undisputed truth, and I'm the only one to bring it to you. So go ahead and continue this podcast. I will go back into the nether and wait.
All right, we will call upon you should we have need of your services again, kind
Thank
sir.
you.
All right, Wardberg, can you let us know when the tribunal's back in his pocket dimension, please?
Will do.
Thank you.
All right.
Joey, I think we're screwed. I
think
think
we're
we're about
fucked,
to
guy.
get attacked real hard later.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're fucked.
I'm not
boy.
emotionally ready.
Shit's getting real, boys.
All right.
I'm gonna go put on my diaper real quick when I shit my pants.
Let me put my
All right.
onesie on so I feel comfortable.
The Living Tribunal has returned beyond the stars and awaits the next time we have need of his services. So, let's move on to our second film in Phase 3. This one is Doctor Strange. This came out on November 4th, 2016. And grossed pretty much half of Captain America: Civil War, clocking in at $677.7 million.
Derm.
So, since we went with Fusion first last time, I believe, Chris, why don't you hit us up with what you thought about Doctor Strange?
Okay. Doctor Strange was really, really interesting. It was a whole. Visually, it was vomit, but beautiful vomit to look at. Because like it's like the CGI was everywhere, but it broke my mind as to how they were able to like think of all that. It was way past even Inception levels, which I think is really crazy with like the bending cities and all that stuff. But I think it was really well done with the CGI, and then the story. I'm not a huge fan of this movie. I think it's a good movie. I don't think it's one of those top 5 or maybe even top 10 total of the MCU, but I like the way that that they actually showed the progression of Stephen Strange through the movie, though. I think that this is one of those movies, I think that it kind of relates back to the original Iron Man, where it has a very good character progression through the story. It's just that I don't think it resonated with me as much as Iron Man did, and maybe that's just the nostalgia factor of Iron Man. But and then the bad guy, what's the name of the guy who played him?
Mads Mikkelsen? Yep.
Max
Yeah.
Mikkelsen.
I feel like he didn't have a lot to do in this movie. I feel like he was just a pawn. He really was just a pawn to the big Dormammu guy.
Dormammu the Destroyer.
Yeah. I don't think that he really. He just wasn't an interesting villain to me. I think he was just kind of like slapped in there to be someone to fight before fighting the real big bad guy type of thing. I mean, it wasn't something special to me, honestly.
Okay. Anybody else?
I like the movie. I don't think it was a blow you away movie. Visual effects, like you said, hashtag, beautiful vomit. Is that what you said?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's what he
pretty
came
much.
out with.
Yeah, a pretty vomit. Yeah,
Pretty vomit. No, it's the visual effects were definitely eye catching. I know a lot of the biggest complaint was this is essentially just a carbon copy of Iron Man in terms of the character arc, which I get because I mean honestly, if you've read the original comic book, it's very similar to Iron Man in terms of the character's development. Benedict Cumberbatch, he did a good job. His accent was awful. Dormammu, I've come to bargain. Wasn't one of my favorite movies, but every now and then I will pop it on just because the comedic element. Wong was great. I had no problem with Tilda Swinton playing the ancient one. I mean, I thought the cast was fine. The script was okay. The special effects were good. But my favorite part of this was it really tied into what we're going to talk about later, and that's Infinity War. But it helped create the Mystic Realm, but not beyond that. Just the multiverse was expanded on from Ant-Man, which is something I really liked, and they did a good job of the execution of the MCU was good through Doctor Strange, leading into which will be very polarizing, which is Thor Ragnarok. But it was like the execution of the MCU going forward with Doctor Strange. I really enjoyed that part of it.
Cool. Joey, what do you got?
Yeah. Kind of same thing. Kind of everyone kind of covered. Visually speaking, yeah, it's beautiful vomit. There's some pretty good. There's some good parts in there. Especially when he finds the cape and everything. That's kind of some good comedy with the cape. Sorry, blanking. I kind of still. It bothers me that like somebody that is like a neurosurgeon. Why would he be driving in the rain? While trying to like view pictures on the screen of the car,
Because he's a cocky neurosurgeon.
Exactly.
I was just like,
He's
I
above
looked
the
at him
world.
like,
That's like a
doesn't-
way to show like, yeah, this is the guy who thinks he's better than literally everything.
it just didn't make sense. I was like, okay, this seems weird. But it makes sense how to progress, and like he kind of goes into like weird slump, finds these people like potentially heal them, and then he eventually figures out like the mystical realm and stuff like that. So it's a good movie. Yeah, I think everyone's kind of right. It's kind of Iron Man-esque in character. Yeah, it's kind of what I got.
Okay. So for me, like I said, I'm not sure if it's really exactly Iron Man, but for me, it really feels like a Phase 1 movie.
Yeah.
To me, in that a lot of the more recent movies don't really feel like origin movies. Like to use that term like as its definition. And this one definitely is an origin movie, like to a T, has a very specific structure. It's still well acted. I really enjoy some of the dialogue stuff, like what's this? A mantra? No, it's the Wi-Fi password. Stuff like that. Really cool. The car crash scene, damn, that's gnarly. When the thing comes up and hits his hands, God, you just like cringe. You're like, oh shit, that's messed up. And it's like if House became a superhero, basically. Which I kind of like, because I actually really liked that show back in the day. And for me, I think it has one of the better third acts in the whole MCU. Like their way to get around how they use the villain. Chris, you were talking about how Zemo was outthought the good guys in Civil War. This is like the opposite.
Yeah.
In
where
Doctor
he
Strange,
outthought the villain. Yeah.
where he used the time loop to essentially outthink and outmaneuver and essentially manipulate his opponent into giving up, which I thought was really cool because it wasn't really a fight. Like he was going to lose every time he fought him, and he was just like, "Fuck it, I'll lose forever."
Just holding him in a stalemate.
And that was a really cool subversion of how we usually end up stuff in origin movies, which is where I thought it kind of broke the mold a little bit at the very, very end. But up into that point, it was very, paint by numbers, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like,
No.
having a movie where I pretty much know how it's gonna go, like Shazam, more recent one. I pretty much knew where that was gonna go, except for like one thing at the end, which didn't really affect how the final end was gonna go. And it was still really fun. It was still a good time at the movies, and that was this movie. Like, you kind of knew where it was going. It didn't even try to hide the telegraphing, but it was still really fun. It's just an okay movie, which is why we're not really gonna spend a whole lot of time on this one, I don't think.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's get to the voting. Now, before we start, we're not going to go all the way from this top on this one, because I'm pretty sure no one's going to put it above Civil War, right? That's not crazy?
No.
Okay. So, the voting will commence. We're going to start with, is it better than The Avengers, which is currently now in slot number 4. So, actually, let me save this, because I'll put up post Civil War. I'm going to basically be making a bunch of different templates to put up for over the video. Oh, no. Photoshop, just don't save as a template. I want to save as a JPEG. Post Civil War. Okay. So, the Avengers is currently in at number 4. Is Doctor Strange better than the Avengers? Fusion.
No.
Chris?
No.
Joey?
No.
I'm also a no. Is it
Okay.
better than the one we've all compared it to, Iron Man? Fusion.
No.
Chris?
No.
Joey?
No.
Also a no for me. Is it better than another man, Ant-Man? Fusion.
No.
Joey?
No.
I did it out of order. I was hoping to catch him off guard. Chris?
Yeah. It caught me off guard. You'll see it in the video. Me being like, how dare you?
I'm looking forward to that. That's one of the reasons I like editing it where I don't see your video ahead of time, is to get to watch it in real time. It's fun.
Nice.
It's real fun for me. So is it better than Ant-Man, Chris?
No. No.
It's not. So that's a no for me, too. Now we're starting to get into where I think it may fall. Is Doctor Strange better than Avengers Age of Ultron? Joey?
No.
Fusion?
I'm gonna break rhythm here and say yes, it is.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Chris?
Joey, we gotta stick together for later on. No.
Okay.
I also don't think it's better than Age of Ultron.
Okay. Fair enough.
All right, so is it better than Captain America: The First Avenger? Fusion?
Is it better than Captain America: The First Avenger? I'm gonna say no.
Joey?
No.
Okay, I know. The Cap 1 is like a top 5 Marvel movie for you, so I didn't think so.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I'm going to say no as well. I enjoy
also
Cap
saying
1
no.
a lot more than Doctor Strange. Chris, what did you say?
I also said no.
Okay, so now we're moving on to Thor. This is slot number 9. I think it is better than Thor. Fusion, what do you got?
I agree. It's better than Thor.
Okay.
Yes.
So Joey, what do you think?
I agree.
And Chris, just for vote's sake, what did you have?
This was where it was gonna fall. So I'm glad you guys took 3 yeses because I didn't know whether to say yes or no. It's right.
Okay.
It's right in here.
I think
so
that's where in my notes I have Doctor Strange, Cap 1/Thor. Like,
yeah.
that's what I had in my
that
notes.
area. So
because I got some of his character is more like Tony, but like
Yep.
the setting and arc he goes on is more like Thor.
mm-hmm.
So that's how I had it in my notes.
Yeah.
So yeah, we didn't need the Living Tribunal for this one,
Okay.
but I'm sure we will for a couple movies down the line
Oh yeah.
that I'm aware of based on our previous conversations.
Maybe even the next one. Who knows?
Who knows? All right, we are on to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. What many thought might be the final Guardians, but now thankfully is no longer going to be the last one, at least from James Gunn, which I'm really excited about.
So glad they brought it
Yeah.
back.
Yep.
Same here.
This one launched May 5th, 2017, raked in $863 million at the box office. So I'll start with this one.
Okay.
Soundtrack, it's the second one. It's still amazing. In fact, I think the soundtrack actually ties in better this one than the first one did.
I agree.
Mostly because anytime you're going to use the chain from Fleetwood Mac, I'm fucking in. Not just in the marketing, but at the climax of the movie. Like, the Ooga Chaka with the Blue Suede, that was in the marketing of the first one, and then it was like the beginning of Act 2 almost.
Yeah, it
And-
was the montage song.
Yeah, like when they were breaking out of like prison, wasn't it?
It's when they got into
prison. They were
Yeah,
checking
into prison,
in, yeah.
right? And so
Yeah.
it's not the final song, whereas like the chain
No.
was the one of the trailer songs where he plugs in the speakers and it starts playing. Such a great
they
intro.
They used the chain, I think,
Twice.
at least 2, maybe even 3 times in the movie.
And man, it's just got such
And
a
it's
great
beautiful every time.
intro beat. It's so good.
When they're following Echo to his planet, it played there.
Mm-hmm.
The fight scene at the end, and I
Yeah.
don't know the third part. The third one.
Rocket is playing it in the background, like it's really faint. And when he's trying to fix the ship,
Okay.
yeah, it's real faint, but it's there and it's so good. One of my all-time favorite songs. Definitely feeling the Fast and Furious vibe on this one. It's all about family, you know. And I've been watching a lot of kind of funny stuff, and like it's all about they talk about Fast and Furious all the time. really awesome character growth for being a middle movie in a trilogy. Well, it's supposed, like it's got some bigger stakes for action wise. Like there's a scene where Drax is sitting talking about his wife and his daughter to Mantis.
Mantis, yeah.
Oh, that's,
What a
that's
scene.
probably my favorite scene. in the
God
movie.
damn,
Yeah,
he's
it's
just sitting
so
in the sun
emotionally powerful.
and
yeah.
just like it's like the sun is just hitting him and he's like being super emotional, reminiscing about the life he's lost and the family he's gained.
Yeah.
It's so just. I have a lot of issues, I think, with the changes they've taken in Drax between 1 and 2. It's really jarring, especially because I watched them in fairly quick order. I did an RT Iowa marathon, so we were really barreling through them. And I'm like, man, he's a lot different. Because in movie, it's only in the movie timeline for them, it's only been months, not us. 3 years essentially.
Right.
So he's very different, which was weird, but also has some amazing moments like that. And he's got some awesome moments in Infinity War.
Yes.
Rocket gets some awesome stuff. Obviously, Gamora and her sister, Nebula, and then Kurt Russell. He was an awesome villain. Like, I actually really liked his turn as a villain. Once he reveals his plan, I was like, man, that's just some good old-fashioned villain stuff from a really good actor. And I really, really dug that. Like, the whole, like, how his powers worked as a Celestial, I thought was pretty cool. Let's see, what else? Do I have anything else? No, I don't got anything else. Chris, I'll start with you.
I'll say that, like you said, the switch between Drax between the first movie and the second movie was jarring. I thought the same way, but about Rocket. I feel like his character was just, I don't know, he became
A dick.
Yeah, like he was a dick in the first movie. Like that's not something that I'm going to argue. He was that, but in the second movie, he just ramped it up, like, and it didn't feel in character from what I saw in the first movie. And there was the scene where like he's in the ship fixing it and fights all those guys. That scene was awesome. Everything else that he did in that movie, I was like, you're boring to me. Other than the push this button to Baby Groot, that was hilarious. But I agree. The soundtrack of this one, I think, might even top the soundtrack of the first one. I listened to the soundtrack of the second one way more because I like just all the songs better. But yeah, I don't know. This one didn't resonate with me as much as the first one overall. I do agree that Kurt Russell as Ego was actually really cool. I like the twist at the end. But I think the way of getting there was just it just wasn't something that I've followed interestingly. The Yondu story arc, though, was incredible.
Yep.
And the final scene is like super emotional to me every single time because I love that movie made me love Yondu, and then it was just like, oh, well, great. Now I don't get to.
And again, the soundtrack they used for that funeral scene, the father and son song.
Cat Stevens. Oh.
Yeah, that was real good.
I
James Gunn
love the
just
soundtrack.
Fuck, man.
murdered it.
I love the soundtrack they use when he's using his arrow again. Like,
Yeah.
come a little bit closer. Oh,
Gets the new fin on and everything.
So good.
oh, that Groot scene where he's
Yeah.
trying to get the fin is hilarious.
Dude, just brings up so much random shit.
Yeah, that's so great. But overall, I don't think the movie was fantastic. It was a letdown to me after seeing the first one. But I don't think it's horrible. It's probably middle of the pack for me in all the movies.
Okay. Joey, let's go with you.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same ballpark with the Rocket. Just weirdly more dickish. I don't know what's up with that. The celestial fighting scenes I thought were kind of weird, but I was also thinking, like, how else do you kind of portray that between Star-Lord and Ego and stuff? And I was like, all right. Yondu is also pretty badass in this movie. And he comes back and, like, saves him, fucking Mary Poppins, yo. Baby Groot, hilarious. What else? Nebula, freaking double downing on trying to kill her sister. Holy crap. I still don't understand how she doesn't kill Gamora with the freaking spaceship. Don't understand that. just guidance systems and stuff. But it's besides the point.
She was too
Other than
emotional
that,
to use a
too
guidance
emotional to
system.
use.
Okay.
She's mostly robotic. How do you be emotional? Whatever. Drax, I felt like he just opened up more with the party. Just because in the first one, he felt like he was just kind of a murder machine. Or wanted to be. Anything else? Mantis, that was really good. Star-Lord, good. Yeah, that's, for me, I thought it was overall a really good movie. Entertaining.
All right.
But I'm not sure if it was better than the first one for me.
Okay. Fusion. Where you at?
Not better than the first one. It was good, but not great. I echo a little bit about Rocket, but I think my hope is that part of him, whatever that piece is that made him a dick in part 2, does translate into closure for him in terms of Endgame, which we can get to later. But because that would make a lot of sense for him. I think for me, the lack of really tying it into the Infinity storyline wasn't a big issue, except for the only major thing was we got introduced to the warp jump concept that's in the MCU in this movie. So okay, that kind of clarified a few things, which we really needed because we're talking about halfway across not only the galaxy but several galaxies away. How are we going to tie all of this stuff in? Okay, we're going to have these warp jumps. Okay. That helped explain things. I enjoyed Kurt Russell's character. Ego was great. The conflict between Nebula and Gamora. Okay, whatever. And for Drax, I was okay with it. They have to evolve the character. So with Infinity War, it's been 4 years since Guardians 2. People forget this timeline. So Guardians 2 was 6 months after the first film. So for them to have Drax really change character in 6 months, a little daunting, not going to lie. Wasn't a great movie, was good, had its moments. I really enjoyed Yondu, though. That aspect of Yondu, and like Chris said, it sucks because they evolved Yondu. You found out about how he really loved Peter Quill, and then he was just when you really start to love Yondu, he's taken away from you, in the MCU. So maybe that's something they could touch on for Guardians 3. I don't know. Obviously, 3 is going to be more of the whatever happens with Endgame and Gamora. But it was a good movie, not great, but good. Yeah,
I agree. I would also point out that the whole Rocket being a dick thing, it's a story point in the movie. Like, he's actively trying to push people away because he doesn't want to be hurt again, And then he turns at the end when he basically leaves Quill behind because he's like, I'm not losing any more friends, kind of thing. Like, he kind of already started to turn a little bit there. Plus, what happens at the end of Infinity War.
But they could come full circle with him in Endgame with that aspect of his personality.
Yeah, I agree.
Finally, it's like this is my family. I love them and I want to bring them back. Okay, like if they could tie that in with him and Nebula, then because obviously from all the promotion, Nebula and Rocket have a huge part in Endgame. So okay, let's really round out the characters' stories. Not just they're here to fight. They play just they're here for certain aspects of getting us to the end game. Okay, well let's also develop their story because Guardians 3 is going to be big. It's going to be huge because it'll be the swan song for James Gunn. So.
Yeah, and I think most of that cast too.
Yeah.
And that's fine because of all the groups, Guardians has swapped out a lot of people in their run. Plus, if we could get more of Rosenbaum's like that ice character thing he was in Guardians 2, that'd be awesome.
Okay,
I love Michael Rosenbaum.
So speaking of that, you guys do.
Oh,
know
they were the OG Guardians.
They're the OG Guardians.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. And they basically have a Doctor Strange too, which is pretty cool.
The only character missing from that is Major Victory and Yondu, of course. So yeah.
Yeah. Because he's dead.
Yeah, and Major Victory is yet to be born in the MCU if you really think of the timeline. So,
yeah, and I could also see them finally bringing in Adam Warlock through the Guardians.
Which they did in the...
Or Michael Korvac, too. They could do a Michael Korvac story, which would be cool.
Was Warlock the one that they had that they were creating in the end?
Yes,
yeah.
That's
been directly set
chamber.
up.
Yeah.
And then Korvac's also been a villain that they've fought against. There was a cartoon episode of Earth's Mightiest Heroes where they team up with the Avengers to basically destroy him. Because he's a guy who thinks he's trying to be a good guy, and then he's too powerful and he could blow up a planet, stuff like that. And I'm maybe forgetting who that guy is. It's been a while. Okay. So let's get on to the vote, shall we? We got shit to do. It's a Saturday. Game of Thrones is tomorrow. I got to rewatch the pilot of the premiere of season 8. We got stuff to do. Let's get going. Where do we want to start here? Do we want to always start at Civil War?
Oh man! So what are
Because
the
now we're
rankings
getting
right
into
now
the
again?
meat of Phase 9. Or Phase 3, not Phase 9. There's 9 movies in Phase 3. Too many numbers. Too many numbers, man. What do they mean, Mason?
I think at 4 is where I think
Okay,
the
so we
standard's gonna
start.
be for this movie.
We start at the
honestly.
Avengers. Okay.
Yeah.
Is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 better than the Avengers? Personally, I say no. I actually would have had it above the OG Guardians, but as a group we have collectively voted differently because I think the third act of Guardians 2 is the third act is so much better than the third act in Guardians 1, which was a weird third act that didn't land for me. But that's a whole other
Joey
topic.
say that he liked Guardians 2 better than Guardians of the Galaxy?
I thought he said it wasn't as good. You three all said it wasn't as good as the first, and I disagreed.
I don't.
But I think
so.
it's close.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's like miles ahead, but the third act for me carries a lot more weight because like the revelations about his mom's death and stuff.
Yeah.
But that's just a me thing. So Fusion, is it better than the Avengers?
No.
Chris?
No.
Joey?
No.
Okay. From here on out, if we get 3 no's or 3 yeses, unless I need a yes for like a posterity, if we get 3 no's, I'll just move on.
Okay.
Is it better than Iron Man? Chris?
No.
Fusion?
No.
Joey?
No.
Okay. Ant-Man? Joey?
No.
Okay. Had a little hesitation there. Chris?
No.
Fusion?
No.
I also say no, but I think it's really close to Ant-Man. Is it better than Ultron? Chris?
No.
Joey?
I'm going yes.
Fusion?
I'm gonna go with yes.
I also go with yes.
Oh.
I'm sorry, Chris. I have betrayed you.
How dare you,
He's
Joey?
like, I'm gonna fuck you when it comes to Ragnarok.
Oh, we have some alliances breaking.
I'm the little finger of this.
The tribe has spoken.
Joey, you're a little something else, but I ain't going to say it on this podcast. We're R-rated, not X-rated.
Oh, dang it. Okay. I'll put my pants back on.
Okay.
All right.
Please do. I don't want to get our bot channel like taken off Twitch. That'd be not
Is that
fun.
what you're streaming to? Your
I'm
bot
streaming,
channel?
so like I use Streamlabs chatbot. So you have to have a
shit.
dummy account essentially,
Yeah.
and I'm streaming to that, so that way really nobody sees it because I'm trying to keep it spoiler free for people.
Nice.
I know Ty and Liz. I mean, you know Liz. She wouldn't be
Yeah.
super fan of us talking spoilers.
Right.
So, what are we on? Guardians 2? How do I... Guardians of the Galaxy... I'm updating my...
Sure.
Sure is.
The list as we go.
Yeah. I honestly
I have a
thought
new
would've put
appreciation for the guys for Kevin and Barrett that did Debatable. Editing on the fly during live. It's not fun. Photoshop doesn't make it
Put
easy.
this underneath Thor, probably.
Okay. So our updated
Wow.
list through 3 movies in Phase 3. We have Captain America Civil War, the first movie in Phase 3. That comes in at number 3 in our whole MCU ranking. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 drops in at number 7. And then Doctor Strange rounds out the top 10 in the 10th slot. So we're moving on to our 4th movie in the MCU. Marvel's version of Spider-Man, Spider-Man Homecoming. This debuted July 7th, 2017, with a box office total of $880 million. They're just cranking out the $800 million movies right now.
Fuck.
It's like nothing.
It's like they literally just show up and they just get showered with money.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just make it rain.
All right, so Joey, let's start with you on this one.
Yes.
What was your
Okay.
takeaways from Spider-Man Homecoming?
Man, I actually really enjoyed this one. It's not what I was expecting. I was kind of expecting the generic, you get to see the bitten by a spider, blah, blah, progress like that. No, we're already in the world developed with Spider-Man. And in this world, they're actually showing something I never really thought of, but like all the alien technology and stuff that was like destroyed during New York. People are harvesting it and like using technology from that and selling it and trying to make money that way. I was like, that was kind of an interesting take. The villain Vulture, if I'm saying that right.
Yep.
I actually thought it was kind of cool. I like the suit design and everything. I like the aspect of him trying to balance being a superhero now since he has the suit. Actually, good suit compared to the homemade one that he had, because this takes place
After Civil War.
after Civil War. Yep, 'cause he's
Yep.
given the awesome suit. And he's kind of like, I don't know, trying to be like really cool, because like there's a whole fairy scene where he figures out, oh, I can't really rely 100% on all the math that the suit kind of tells him. Yeah, it's gotta be. I actually really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was kind of great.
All right.
That's it
Who else
for
wants to
me.
go?
I'll go. Really liked it. It was a classic young Spider-Man movie, like high school Spider-Man, which is what we needed. I just, with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, it was the 30-year-old playing high school. This guy, Tom Holland, you can feel like he's a kid. Like when you see him on stage, you want to say, okay, that's a kid right there, even though he's in his early 20s. But he just looks the part. He plays the part well. I really enjoyed Michael Keaton as the Vulture. The Chitauri element was, like what Joey was saying, really good, because that's something that a lot of the extended MCU on the TV shows have really talked about. Chitauri tech, and in Luke Cage, and in some of the other shows, Agents of Shield. So it was good to bring it into the movie side of it again. Hey guys, don't forget, a few years back there was an invasion on Earth, alien technology still here. What happened with it? Let's talk about that. Wasn't a big fan of Favreau's Happy Hogan. I get why they did that, to just be a bridge to Tony Stark, but I just felt like he was kind of just there. Plus, he was more of a dick than he was in previous movies, which is something that I really just thought was kind of funny. So wait, so you're a tough guy but quiet to everyone else, but when it comes to kids, you're a bit of an asshole. That's not reassuring, Happy. Other than that, really good movie, good cast, great script, great funny moments. Yeah, coming of age of Spider-Man. I was glad that they really just, let's move forward away from the origin, like Joey said. Let's move away from that, and let's get right into, because we've already established that with Civil War. Hey, he's been bitten by a spider months ago. He's got superpowers. Okay, well, Tony Stark's going to guide him. Really set things up for Infinity War, that whole mentorship aspect of it. But I like the pace of it. Good movie. I liked it.
All right. Chris, your thoughts, my friend.
I think this movie is fantastic. One of the things I think of is, when I think of Spider-Man, I don't think of him going around saving the entire world. I think of him going around saving New York.
Okay.
And that's kind of what this movie was. I mean, it wasn't like Vulture was trying to get all the tech to destroy the world or anything. It was kind of like a mob thing, essentially. He's just trying to keep New York safe by stopping this. So I like how they brought it to a smaller scale, like they did back with Ant-Man. And I think this movie has a twist that I never, ever saw coming, with who the Vulture really is in relation to Peter Parker. I don't know. Are we talking spoilers?
Oh, go for it,
Sure,
man.
why not?
Yeah.
When he's the dad of Peter Parker's prom date. Like, the moment he opened the door, I never expected to see Michael Keaton standing there. Like, that was shocking to me, and I thought that was super well done. If you go back and you watch it and you look at the story beats and the things that he says, it's like, oh yeah, he has a daughter. He says that within the first 5 minutes of the movie, but you never make that connection until they bring it into the story blatantly. But other than that, I thought the movie was really good. I think it really plays on being a kid and being a superhero really well. Like, he still is trying to balance the responsibility of school and all that kind of stuff while being a superhero, but then he's also thinking, well, I could be so much better than the schooling stuff and just be an Avenger, and then at the end realizing sometimes you just got to take it slow. So I thought it was I really like the character progression of him wanting to be in on everything at the beginning, and at the end just being like, I need to take a step back real quick. I just gotta do my thing for a little bit and be the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. So I think it was really well paced, very fun movie. Ned is an incredible character. They made the nod to, oh, you got bit by a spider and that's what gave you your powers? Could that happen to me? And then it's like something happens and they stop talking about it. And then they just go back into him asking like weird questions, like, "Do you lay eggs?" I'm like, no. And it,
Can you summon an army of spiders?
yeah, I loved that scene.
Yeah.
Ned is a great character. What are you doing? Watching porn?
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
Guy in the chair.
Yeah. I love. Ned's a great character.
Yes.
He's a fantastic. Like I love like that guy. The guy that plays him with Jacob. I don't know say his last name. He's also awesome in Rooster Teeth's Bloodfest, but
Yep.
that's a whole other thing. He was definitely one of the better parts of that movie. Yeah, I really also enjoyed Homecoming. Chris, I don't know if you had anything else to add.
No, I'm good.
Nail on the head there, Fusion. It's a great coming of age story versus an origin story. You can do
Yep.
coming of age in an origin story, but of all the characters in all of comic book history, other than maybe Superman and Batman, Spider-Man does not need an origin.
No.
Everybody fucking knows his origin. He's been on TV. He's been in animated shows. He's had multiple movies. Like, he is on the cultural level of Superman and Batman, whereas a lot of Marvel isn't, except for maybe the X-Men. Not really, you know. So, and even them, they're not really on that level because look at their box office numbers. They're definitely not. But yeah, that car scene with Michael Keaton when they're just talking. It's just dialogue and close-ups on two actors' faces. And it's one of the best scenes in 22 movies of the MCU.
Well, it just shows you how powerful Michael Keaton is as a presence on the screen
He's
because
just so good.
he's just he's like just through the rearview mirror. He's like drilling into his like just right into the skull of Peter Parker, of Tom Holland in the back seat. Like if it was anyone else, they would start sweating and it's like they would want to get out of the car because he just his eyes would just dig into you.
Yeah, and then
which was great.
Yeah, and then when he turns around with the gun in his hand, like, and he's just not even pointing it at him, like not even really threatening directly him with it. You're still just like it's just this like fatherly menace while also, hey, I'm a supervillain. Like, oh shit, it was
Covers both
just
grounds so well.
so tense, and it was really, really, really well done. And he's definitely probably the most, outside of maybe a couple other characters, their most well-rounded villains in the entirety of the MCU. Because at the end, you know, he's in prison, and then the guy that plays Scorpion, or essentially would if they ever do anything with that character, he's going to be Scorpion. Or not Scorpion. That's not Scorpion. That's shit. Shit. Who am I thinking of? Viper?
believe it is.
Maybe.
Maybe it's not Viper. I think it is a Scorpion.
I thought
think
it was
so.
Yeah, Scorpion's different than
Scorpion
Lizard.
tattoo on his
Scorpion's
neck.
different than Lizard. He's got so many weird villain names that are all
No,
like,
Lizard is Dr. Connors.
yeah,
That's-
exactly.
that's-
You're right. You're right. It is Scorpion.
Yeah, it's Scorpion.
So he's the guy that would play Scorpion, and also their version of Shocker. They're both versions. I really enjoyed the nod to the OG comics design. That was really cool.
That's funny.
Also, Donald Glover, Miles Morales being set up as Donald Glover being his uncle. That was some cool, like, also kind of stunt casting, but also cool world building at the same time for possibilities down the road.
Man, I wish we could talk about Homecoming or Into the Spider-Verse.
If they do this, when and if that sequel comes out, we will totally do one on it if you want.
I love that movie.
I was watching Ant-Man and the Wasp last night with RT Iowa, and I was thinking, man, if they ever do a Young Avengers type movie, I want Ant-Man's daughter, Hawkeye's daughter, and I want Peter Parker to lead that team. That'd be awesome.
Okay, but
pretty sick.
in the Young Avengers comic, it's not Hawkeye's daughter. It's Kate Bishop.
I don't think she's
It's
going to
the
exist in the
random-
MCU. I think it's going to be his daughter.
Yeah, probably.
I think she's going to be an adaptation of Kate Bishop, essentially.
Yeah.
As
But Cassie
she'll be-
Lang is in the MCU, so she's there.
Yeah, and you know, I don't know if she's in the comics too. Like she becomes a character.
Yeah, she becomes Stature in the Young Avengers.
Yeah, and like so, I would love to see them like continue using those actors in like ensemble films too, not just the solo films as that character's daughter, whatever. That'd be a pretty cool nod. But that's a later down the road discussion.
Yeah.
Post Endgame, we'll see how things end up. And yeah, they really do nail the just everyday hero vibe of Spider-Man, which is a very different vibe than most superheroes. I would say it's almost kind of Fraction-esque in his run on, again, Hawkeye. Not to, bring him too much into this, but very much guy on the streets, low-level superhero who can do some really, really cool things. And I thought they really handled those beats really, really well. So that's all we got on Spider-Man, I think. Let's get right into the voting, shall we?
Yep.
Again, we'll just start. Well, with this one, do we want to start at the top? What do you guys think? Because this is a universally pretty beloved MCU movie. It's definitely, I think,
prefer
the
not
best
to jump
Spider-Man
around.
movie ever. So should we start at the top?
I'll be honest. I'll just be upfront. It's not a top 5 for me.
Anybody else
It's
have it in the
close.
top 5?
I might have it in the top 5. So
Okay. Okay.
All right, so we'll start at 1 and go quick.
Okay.
Is it better than Winter Soldier? Chris?
No.
Joey?
No.
Fusion's obviously a no.
No.
I'm a no as well. Is it better than Guardians 1? Chris?
No.
I'm also a no. Fusion's a no. Joey?
No.
No.
And Civil War?
No.
Fusion?
No.
Joey?
No.
I'm also a no. Is it better than the Avengers? Chris?
Yes.
Chris says yes. Okay, we've got our first top 5 vote for Spider-Man Homecoming. Fusion, what do you got?
No.
Joey?
I'm a no.
Okay.
Come on, Joey.
I know. I was
I
like, oh man, but Avengers has so many people involved.
I'm
with
also
it.
a
I was like,
no.
all right, that's where.
But I think it might get real interesting here in slot number 5, because that's currently
yeah.
Iron Man. Is Spider-Man Homecoming better than Iron Man? A movie that features Iron Man. Fusion.
This is going to be tough for me, guys, but I'm going to have to say it's a no, but by a slight margin.
Okay. Joey.
Ooh, golly gee, mister.
Copy G, mister.
I'm gonna say no.
Oh, another no.
What?
Chris?
Warper, you gotta back me up on this. Yes.
I don't think so, man. I don't.
Oh, come on!
I don't. Iron Man is such. It's
Can
the
we bring in the
perfect.
tribunal to just
Shush
you
it.
all?
Shush your fucking face. Iron Man is the perfect origin story. It literally every origin story since Iron Man has been judged against Iron Man. That's how perfect that
But guess
movie is.
what? You
All
guys
three
even
acts
said
of
it
that movie are
yourself
great.
that Spider-Man isn't an origin story.
I'm saying it. I really do believe Iron Man deserves its spot where it is right now, and I don't think Homecoming is equal to Iron Man. I don't.
Okay. Okay.
It's close though, which is where I think it's. I think based on what you guys have been talking about, I think it falls in the next slot at 6, which is currently where Iron Man sits. Fusion, what do you think?
Better than no. Wait.
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man. Did I say the
Ant-Man,
wrong
Ant-Man.
name?
Yeah, you said Iron Man.
Sorry, I meant Ant-Man.
Okay.
I'll have the graphic up on.
I'm gonna
in
give
post.
I'm gonna give you a stone cold lock at a yes. It's better than Ant-Man.
Okay. Chris
Yeah.
and Joey.
Yeah, baby.
I also think it's a yes, so it's unanimously the new number
Yes.
6.
Yes.
And now we're about to get to the real heavy shit. So, Living Tribunal,
boy.
let's go with this. It's out there. We may need your services here pretty soon.
We probably will.
All right, let me update my graphic here. What the fuck? Okay, I don't know. Maybe our Living Tribunal can tell me this because he uses this program a lot more than me. Every time I make a new text box, it shows up in like a fucking Latin phrase in the text, and I don't understand what the fuck's going on. And all my spacing shit. I hate this update to the 2018 version that I did last year to Photoshop. Just fucked everything up for me. I'm not a fan. If I didn't like using Premiere, I would not also use
Premiere's so
Photoshop because
good.
I get it for
I
real
love
cheap.
Premiere.
In fact, work pays for it, which is nice.
Tribunal's obviously sticking to his pocket dimension, so yeah.
Probably is. Oh, I have him in my Twitch chat. Fucking weird. Almost there. I'm just slowly updating everything. Come on, Photoshop. I'm hitting Control-C. Let's go.
Oh yeah, the next batch of movies, shit's getting.
It's getting.
real, guys.
It's gonna get real interesting right now.
I'm gonna have a lot of fun in the next 2 movies for sure.
Yeah, it's gonna get real loud. So people, guard your ears. Because there's gonna be some screaming, probably some threats against people's lives.
I'm gonna preface this next movie by saying I am okay with everybody having their opinion. I just like to have conversations and arguments about it.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's a good preface.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm not gonna hate somebody for loving it, and I'm not gonna hate somebody for
That's fine.
hating it.
I'll hate you enough for the both of us. Okay.
All right, sounds good. I'm gonna post more pictures of Rudy's and Gordo's. In
Hey, go
your
fuck yourself.
Discord.
Hey, Chris is crossing some lines here. I don't know. We have to get some.
No, I didn't cross the line. You're the one who said you're gonna hate me, so I'm just
Yeah.
gonna return the favor.
Oh, this is why I love podcasting. Shit like this. These are the moments where I'm like, God, I fucking love this shit. All right. So the stuff that's gonna get us heated, of course, is Thor
Schism
Ragnarok.
time.
Yeah, where the schism, the great BSN schism of 2019 is going to happen. It all comes down to this. Thor Ragnarok, a movie that launched November 3rd, 2017, grossed a total of $854 million at the box office, and is undoubtedly, for us, one of the most divisive movies in the entirety of the MCU. Joey, let's have you go
Yes.
first on this one.
Wait, what?
Get
I went
your
first last
opinions.
time. Okay.
I want to
Yes.
go Joey, Chris. No, Joey, Fusion, Chris,
So-
me.
Okay.
Bring it
So we
home,
get
buddy.
some diverse opinions.
All right. Well, I'm going to start off by saying I felt I was a little too focused on fucking comedy. It just,
Reach.
just saying, it felt stuff was forced. What else? Yeah, Surge was kind of,
Scourge.
I don't know.
It's
Scourge,
not
sorry.
the 1990s. pop.
Surge!
Surge! It's out of control.
Surge!
Dude, that
But,
was a great drink, Surge.
Surge was
Delicious.
weird.
I
commercial
don't
gave
think
me
I've ever
diabetes.
drank it.
You were a little young, Joey, for that.
A little young. Yeah, true.
It went out of circulation in like 98. You're 4 years younger than me.
Yeah, I could have drinking it at. What,
I
age of
highly doubt Lori Lee
fucking
was giving
4?
you
No.
Surge when you were 5.
that. No, she wasn't. I'm still confused why Odin was on Earth.
He
It
was
doesn't make
exiled.
sense to me at all.
He was exiled in Thor 2 by Loki.
Thor, or not Thor. Jesus, I mean Odin.
Yeah,
Wait,
Odin was
on
exiled
Earth.
by Loki.
Okay.
In Thor 2, he was kicked off the throne. Remember Loki, the shape-shifting scene at the end of Thor 2?
Ah, Jesus, no.
Okay.
Loki put a spell on him, and then
Yeah?
he was able to move him after that spell. Is what
Okay.
They kind of give you at the very beginning of this movie. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and then what is he? He goes to Earth, and then Doctor Strange kind of finds him, or finds Loki, kind of like teleports him away for a bit. And how is he not recognized by anyone else? Thor was recognized before Loki was, and Loki tried to kill a fuck ton of people.
Yeah, but Loki...
And no one's like, oh no, he's totally fine. Genocide world, fuck, it's okay.
Loki really was
Frickin'
public-facing in like 5 minutes of the Avengers, though.
Yeah, and plus, I think it's put out in the universe that there is like Thor merchandise, so people would know Thor.
In
They
Ultron,
probably
they
wouldn't
set
know
up
Loki.
that Thor's been on Earth for a while helping the Avengers.
Yeah, it's been like
Yeah.
4 years.
Yeah, he's been around. Still doesn't have a phone, though. Or an email.
or email.
Great scene. So what else you got, Joey?
I don't know. The Hulk was ruined in trailers. God, there's this. Why is Hulk freaking just like a pouty baby? Like, I don't want to leave
He's
this
2
place.
years
This
old.
place loves me. Blah blah blah. Where was that ever said or mentioned?
He hasn't had an intellect since he literally became a character at the end of Ultron, when he made a conscious decision to leave. That's when he made his like first character decision and became a person. So he's literally 2 years old.
You know, I don't know. Just a lot of. I don't know. Did they really need to go to the? What is it? The no? What planet are they on? Ragnarok?
Sakaar.
No, right, Sakaar. Ragnarok's the thing that happens to destroy
Yes.
Asgard. Yes. There we go.
So I'm sensing you didn't like the movie.
No. I just felt things were forced. Okay. It just. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not doing a good defense of it, but I just
Fusion,
felt it was just-
I'm sensing you're going to have some takedowns of Joey's stance on that movie. What do you think?
Okay, let's be real. You're talking about what was considered like demigods, mythology, that like, deities that were established in the comic realm, that they're aliens. Okay, so how do we go from here? Okay, well, Asgard is a really fucking beautiful place, but really weird looking when you really think about it. So we we need to kind of add a little levity into the mythos, and there was foundation there with like in the Avengers, Hulk and Thor had great chemistry. Taiko felt that in order for us to make this work, we have to take it into a lighthearted direction because Thor: Dark World had its quote unquote comedic moments, which were very far few between, and it was mostly due to the Earth element. But for us to exist in space, we just need to have kind of make it a little lighthearted. Okay, I get it. And the execution of that comedy was good in my opinion. I do agree with Joey in that the whole pouting stuff was a little too overblown because he's supposed to be a monster. I was hoping for more of a World War Hulk kind of mentality than a I'm 2 years old and I'm not happy and I'm gonna kick my can Hulk. But I mean, but the banter between him and Thor were really good. Jeff Goldblum was fucking hilarious in this movie. I really love this movie. Kate Blanchett was hot as hell as hella, even though I think making her a little too overpowered, just a touch. And I was gonna say this, and Warburg's probably gonna agree with me. The way they did in the Warriors 3, fuck Kevin Feige for that, because I really enjoy the Warriors 3 in the comics, and the way they were hey, they're cannon fodder for hella, kind of sucked.
Not Sif though.
No,
Lady
not Sif. Not Sif. Sif is still out there.
She's doing
we know.
something. Probably forgot her memory and showed up on an NBC show.
Exactly. And it sucks that she wasn't a part of this movie because we finally got rid of Jane Foster and Natalie Portman's half-ass acting to open up a female lead. Okay, why can't we have Sif in this? No, we're gonna bring in Valkyrie. Okay, well, why can't she just be a badass kick-ass character and not the love interest that we're gonna tease for a future movie?
Yeah, because he's had three love interests now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm okay with. I really enjoy this movie. It's really good for me. The comedy was needed for the Thor character.
Plus, Hemsworth is awesome
yeah,
with comedic timing.
Yeah, Hemsworth has great timing. Goldblum's, of course, just a legend with timing. And they did a good job with the timing between him and Hulk. And then when he reverted back to Banner, the timing between him and Ruffalo is great, and kind of the knocks that they make at Tony Stark was really good. But in terms of to do this character and do the end of the world, I get where Joey's saying Loki's killed a fuck ton of people all across the entire galaxy and the universe at that, and we're just basically at this point we're kind of devaluing just the life of just beings, period. Okay, but we're doing it at the expense of making a really big joke. I'm okay with it just because there's not a whole lot if we make a really serious Thor Ragnarok movie, it's gonna bum the fuck out of people. It's just gonna be depressing as shit. So let's just put in a good soundtrack, some good comedic moments, and I like the movie. I thought it was a good movie.
All right, maybe a little different opinion than Fusion. Chris, what do you got?
I don't like this movie.
Okay.
I am on the side of Joey. I don't like the comedy in this movie. I think the only good comedy that comes from this movie is the Rock character. I can't remember his name ever.
Korg.
Yeah.
Taika Waititi.
Yes, the one that was played by the director, Taika Waititi.
The revolution has begun.
Why did the revolution work? Oh, we didn't print enough pamphlets.
Yes.
That's just oh, okay, that's a really weird reason. But I thought that was hilarious. And then Loki realizing that Hulk's on the planet, that was pretty funny. But wasn't Loki on the planet for 2 weeks before then, technically? Why does he not know that Hulk is on this planet if Hulk is this grand champion? It doesn't make... A lot of things in this movie just make me question things, and it's not a good question.
Okay.
I think Hela is a cookie-cutter bad guy. All I want to do is kill the world. There you go. Or be a powerhouse, whatever. Super boring, in my opinion. Kate Blanchett's performance is good, but the character itself is bad. I don't like the way Thor was portrayed because I feel like he literally just lost his father. He'll realize later that he's lost the Warriors 3, and he's going around making a bunch of jokes. I don't understand where that comes from. I don't know. That's a weird way of dealing with that stuff. I thought there would be a little bit more, kind of
Okay.
grieving
So how
to
about
it all.
the train scene after his mom died in Thor 2? That was pretty funny after a really serious moment.
That's true, but there was resolution to his mom dying. They had the funeral. Like, there was a whole thing where he was able to start coping with it, and he was going through stages of grief. So I think that there was at least some form of resolution there. In this movie, I don't think there was.
Yep.
And
Okay. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. Sorry.
no, yeah, and one of the other big things, how is it that when he's fighting the Hulk the first time, I think there's only one time that he fights him,
Yeah.
but he's in his superpower Raiden state where he's got electricity everywhere. How does a shock collar stop him?
I don't think it's a shock thing. I think it hits his nerves, like literally the nerves in your spinal system. That's what it was hitting. Because you can shock that without electricity.
But he's like the Lord of Thunder and shit. I mean, can we just...
Who's to say it's alien?
He
tech? Who's to
commands
say
this!
it's using actual electricity?
He also pressed the same button to release the thing from his neck that Valkyrie pressed in order to shock him. So I thought that was weird. But yeah, I don't like the comedy in this movie. 80% of this movie, said by Taika Waititi, is improv lines, technically. I think when you give... I don't think that many of these characters are comedic actors. Like, I don't think of them as comedy. I think that when you give a bunch of actors who aren't necessarily comedians free reign on lines, they always try to make something funny, and it just didn't play out to me. And to undercut almost every scene in this movie with comedy just felt very boring. I did not enjoy it. So this is really low on my list.
Damn. Hopefully our Living Tribunal can see why I needed to call him in for this one.
Yeah, and I think that that's a load of bullcrap
Yep.
because you have just weighted it on your favor. How
The
dare
system's
you?
rigged. It's whatever.
Yeah. I need to
Damn,
start a
like electoral
revolution
college.
and start printing pamphlets.
We need more pamphlets, Chris. Let's get this.
Okay. That's a good callback. I appreciate that. So yeah, I really love this movie. I think to your point about the whole closure and emotional thing, number one, from when his dad dies, it literally is nonstop. He's never not doing something. Like, he doesn't have a moment to grieve. Not really. He has one when he's talking to Loki and, like, saying a prayer about his father, going to Valhalla, And then,
Well, he really doesn't have a chance to mourn until Infinity War, where he's in the pod with Rocket.
Yeah, plus, like, the very, very end of this movie when the throne scene, when he, puts on the eye patch and everything. And he kind of starts to when he's talking to Hela about, like, I don't want to rule. I really don't, but I know I can't let you, And he actually does
that's
get to
fair.
say goodbye to his dad, in the whole weird thing about, are they extra-dimensional beings? I don't know. Like, thing that they've set up with the Asgardians in this universe, going back to Thor 1, are they just aliens? Or do they have these, like, super weird energy powers that aren't really from this universe? I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Because beings don't just become energy if they're supposed to be, like, just regular corporeal beings who happen to just be really fucking strong and use full, just science, Like, that was set up in Thor 2 where, yeah, they call it magic, but it really is just science, like Jane Foster's thing about the MRI and the Soul Forge thing, Just setting it up to
Right.
the same thing. But then in Thor, then he just fades into nothingness. Weird. Again, they've done some weird stuff with the Asgardians, and the comics too. The comics all over the fucking place with the Asgardians. Like, how they actually matter to the universe, It's weird, because, like, is the Bifrost, like, a thing of subspace that they can control and shoot wherever they want to, and just
Well,
traverse it at
they
will?
put Asgard in Nebraska at some point.
Yeah, like, it's weird. And it's...
Yeah, it's in Nebraska for a long stretch in the
Yeah, or a
early
floating
2000s.
city that Tony Stark builds off the coast of Norway. It's
Yeah.
It's been a lot of different shit.
Yeah,
And
that's funny.
I think this movie captures the weirdness of the Asgardian tale, because you go read, like, the 60s and 70s, Jack Kirby stuff. It's fucking weird. It's out there. It's some crazy shit. And this movie, I think, really does capture that very, very well. their incarnation of Thor is different than that run of the comics, that era of the comics. But the world around him, the look and feel, the colors, the aesthetic, very much in line with all of that. I don't think the World War Hulk thing fusion makes a lot of sense because that's just too dark for the MCU. That story gets dark, like with him coming back and Planet Hulk and everything. Like shit.
The thing is, though,
that's fucked up.
Marvel could do it. Like,
and well, here's the thing though, they have Ghost Rider back now, so they could do a really big portion of that story, which I really loved. The whole the Avengers try to get Ghost Rider to help, and he's just like, "You guys are fucking assholes. You're the reason he's here doing this," and he just leaves. Fucking love that moment. Mm-hmm. So great. But it reminds me, I want them to do it. I want Marvel to do a Ghost Rider movie. I think it'd be fucking amazing. But that's a whole other topic of conversation. Maybe we'll see what Phase 4 and 5 bring down the road, now that they've got a lot of their characters back. Anything else I got? Yeah, Hela. I have a note here. Why did I write Shazam? Oh, so Chris, your point about the villain just kind of being there, but the performance was good. I actually thought that really mirrors Shazam really well. Like I had the same thing with Shazam where, and also this is a movie that's not about the villain. You know, it's about Thor and his journey as a character versus literally everything else. Like his interactions with Hela really don't really inform his arc that much. It's more about how he processes and like learns himself a little bit, which I actually like versus the other ones where he's fighting this big bad at the end, you know, and that's the whole thing is they know that it's leading to this. It's subtle, but I think I see a difference there. And the bookends of Immigrant Song, when he's fighting with the hammer at the peak of his abilities, and then when he's fighting without the hammer at the peak of his abilities on the bridge, holy fuck. God, it's just so fun. I love those scenes. They're fantastic. And I love how...
I do have to say that I really like the action scenes in this movie.
Yeah, their fights are awesome.
Those are good.
Like that Hulk, there's one scene in the Hulk-Thor fight where I'm like, oh, that looks a little... when he picks Hulk up, initially when he's like leaning in to grab his hand, and it like smash cuts to Thor's face. It just looks weird.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But it almost looks more POV, which is maybe why it looks weird, because it looks like Hulk's perspective. And POV shots are weird, because they're hard to get the right perspective on, because Hulk's this thing that's so much bigger than anything we can relate to. It's hard to like get in on his POV really, really well. And the behind the scenes of how they shot Hulk next to everybody are fucking hilarious. Because it's just this guy standing next to all of them with a backpack on that's got a big-ass green pole sticking up with Hulk's head on it. Hilarious. I love the behind-the-scenes shots of this movie. They're so fun. Yeah. The only other thing I wanted to say was maybe it's the best quote in Phase 3, the Jeff Goldblum, "And I'll pardon you from life." He just uses the death stick and melts his cousin. Fucking gets me every time. That whole scene where Thor freaks out about like the smell. It's so good.
Oh god, it's on my shoe.
It's so great. I love that whole sequence. Everything with Goldblum, it was gold.
Yeah.
It was pure gold. Such great casting. But yeah. Oh, and Clancy Brown. Got to give a shout out to him as Surtur. Fuck yeah. Anything that's got Clancy Brown in it, I'm gonna be a fan. That was fantastic. If anyone doesn't know, he's the OG voice of Lex Luthor from the DCAU.
Okay.
Back in the day. Also, General Wade Eiling on The Flash. That's a whole other thing. Should we vote on this, guys?
Let's go for it.
All right.
Let's do it.
All right.
You want to start at the bottom for this one,
fuck off.
or
Yeah. We'll start at number 22.
yeah? Can we? Is it better than nothing? Yeah.
No. Yeah, like there's no like truly awful movie. Like I'm watching.
No.
Not to bring back the kind of funny stuff, but like they watched Mission Impossible 2 and they're like, "Oh fuck, this is immediately going number 6 on the list." Like it's terrible. Like they didn't even try. Like there's no movie like this in the MCU. Not really. There's some universal ones that people don't like as much, but still not bad movies. Apparently Chris thinks this is a bad movie, but that's a whole thing. All right, we'll start at the top because of where me and Fusion might have this.
Okay.
Is it better than Winter Soldier? Chris, you're obviously a no. Joey, you're obviously a no.
Mm-hmm.
Fusion.
No.
I also say no. Is it better than Guardians? Chris.
No.
Joey.
No.
Fusion.
Yes.
I actually think so too.
I hate this. This is so stupid.
Again, this is the problem where I wouldn't have put Guardians at 2, by the way. and in my own personal list. This is where collective voting becomes really fucking weird. And this is why I love doing podcasts. So, Living Tribunal, would you be able to grace us with your presence once more?
I can grant you my audience with me. I can do that just for you. First off, the fact that there are two jabronis on this podcast, two jabronis that are once again horribly wrong.
Yeah, Fusion and
Yeah,
Warburg.
Tom.
Yeah, Fusion and Wartburg.
Oh,
How could you two be so wrong to have these two other two people on this podcast? They don't deserve to be on here with you.
Hey,
Let's be
to
honest, this is why
Joey's
we're
only
on
here
this
because he's my stream
podcast.
partner.
Look, here's the problem, though.
Monster.
It is a damn good movie. It is not better than Guardians of the Galaxy.
At least thank you for that.
Okay.
All right, then may we request your assistance in finding an appropriate slot?
You may. Please continue.
All right,
Bow
so
wow.
to our naysayers, Joey and Chris, where would you guys put this? So that way we can try to start building this out. Individually.
Joey, maybe you should say.
What about slot 13? What do you think of there?
No, it's not, it can't be slot 13. We're up
I
to
know.
we've got 1 through 16 ranked right now.
I would say before Thor.
Oh, okay.
Thor right now is number 12.
Yeah.
So you think Doctor Strange is better than Ragnarok?
Yep.
You're insane.
I know.
How about you, Chris?
Well,
Actually, let me get you
For
guys
the
the
fact
updated
that-
list.
for the fact that I think that Incredible Hulk should be way higher than it is.
I forget it.
Remember,
it's
collective
really-
ranking.
Yep.
Yeah, it's collective ranking. But for this, I would put it just above Iron Man 3.
Yeah, let me get you guys the new rank.
Okay.
Let me add in the photo.
So what? That would probably make it 14 or 13.
There, the new image is in the Discord.
Yeah, it would be number 14 for me.
Okay,
Okay.
Fusion. What would you think if it's not better than Guardians? Aaron, since we both think it should be 2, and obviously you disagree, which is fine. That's why you're here. What about if we put it above Civil War?
I'm perfectly okay with putting it above Civil War.
Is that
That is
acceptable
where I
to
would
you?
put it. On this list, that is where I would put it.
All right.
I feel comfortable with that. Yeah.
All right, co-counsel accepts. So, I guess we have to put it above Captain America: Civil War. Bit of a yeah. This
I am
list is
so-
getting real crazy.
I'm so
hurts the
gonna
most?
once we're done with this, I'm gonna edit this thing and show you my picks and just see how vastly different it is than what we're making right now.
All right, let me get this list updated. I realized I forgot to update it after
I hurt.
or save an
know,
actual
Joey.
one
It's
after
so high.
Guardians, but I'll re-edit it
Joey.
in post.
Where did you say it was, Joe? In your opinion?
Oh,
has it
dude,
at
it's right
number-
before Thor.
He has it at
Like
number
11.
12,
12. Okay.
Yeah.
which is absolutely fucking insane.
You're all insane for putting
Yeah!
the Incredible
all right.
Hulk at 15 right now.
Let it go, man.
If I
Let it
may.
go. Let it go.
All right, what the Living
The
Tribunal is speaking.
reason why this movie is so high on the list for me is the fact that this is the bridge movie. This is the bridge between the tone that Avengers and that half of the MCU was doing, and then the tone that we were getting from Guardians of the Galaxy, which was a very different tone. And
Yep.
you needed something, knowing that you had Infinity War and Endgame coming up, you needed something to bridge those two. And this was the movie to do that. Did all of the comedic bits hit? No, but it served its purpose very well.
That's
And
fair.
not to mention, this saved the Thor franchise because the first two are not good movies.
Yeah, I mean, they're
So,
talking about they
yeah.
pitched a 4th film.
And to his credit, Hemsworth is like, yeah, I'm back. Like I was ready to hang it up after Thor 1 and 2, like with the solo movies. But damn, this movie got him back in the game, and I think he's one of the more underrated actors in the MCU. So I'm excited to see if he can get him and Taika to come back with everybody, and Tessa Thompson, like maybe just dropped the bomb that, oh yeah, like we've already kind of done some reads on some stuff.
Yeah, we pitched it over to Marvel Studios. So,
Yeah, so that's like, and I would be shocked if it didn't have it anyway. It made $850 million, so.
Yeah.
And if you got Chris Hemsworth, one of the biggest names on the planet, he wants to do another one, and it made that much money, I can't imagine he doesn't show up in another movie.
Well, and he was one of the younger original Avengers.
Yeah,
so
I want
it
to say
makes
like
sense
good
for him
5
to
or
be
6
around for a
years.
few more films. Yeah.
So, all right.
And just Google him shirtless. God, what a man.
Damn. Well, thank you, Mr. Living Tribunal. We appreciate your services once again.
I will go back
Yes.
beyond the stars and look at pictures of Chris Hemsworth.
Say hi to Galactus.
Please
for us.
do.
Check out his bleached eyebrows too.
Yes.
Oh Lord.
Those were the dark times.
Oh yeah.
No, those are really, really white times.
Yeah, those were the early days of the MCU.
Oh, man.
Those were the pre-Whedon days. All right, so we're through I think the divisive one. I think.
Yep.
We'll see where we land on maybe Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
I think these three will be pretty quick for me, honestly.
I
Yeah.
agree, I think. But I think we're all in agreement. We might be cutting against the grain a little on the next one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Between the conversations I remember us having, we may be cutting against the grain on, of course, Black Panther. That's the next one in Phase 3. Launched on February 16th, 2018, and it grossed over $1.3 billion, nearly $1.35 billion, in fact. Chris, you haven't been the first to go in a while. What were your thoughts on Black Panther?
This might be weird to say, but I thought it was a meh movie. I really like Killmonger. I think he is one of the most interesting villains that has happened in a MCU. But I also really like Claw. And for them to do away with Claw that quickly, that pierced me. Like I thought that he could have been. He was that kind of Joker feel to me, where he was just doing everything because he just wanted to do it. He enjoyed the chaos, and I love those types of characters. And then they just did away with it really quickly. I felt betrayed. But other than that, I wasn't like all about this movie. I think that there are some great characters. M'Batu, I love M'Batu. He's a fantastic character. I'm so glad that he was back in Infinity War. Did he survive Infinity War?
Yes, he did.
He did.
Yes, he did. So
Okay.
I'm excited to see where he plays a role in Endgame. And I liked the war. Was Shuri? Is that his?
Yeah,
sister's name?
that's his sister's
Yeah.
name. Yep.
Shuri is hilarious. I liked Shuri. She is a comedic style that I enjoy. But I didn't really find any of the fight scenes interesting. Most of them were CGI, which, let's all be real about this. The CGI at the end with the train is awful.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to say that.
Yep.
Just
It looked-
poo-poo doo-doo.
It looked like a early PlayStation 3 graphic.
Yeah, not good. But overall, it just didn't have a lasting feel to me. So it's not, in my mind, Thor Ragnarok. In my mind, Thor Ragnarok. But it is middle to higher tier, I think, but not highest tier. So probably top
All right.
7 or 8.
Anyone want to bounce off that?
I'm gonna say, I'm gonna echo this. The first great cast, phenomenal casting, good script in terms of the story. Killmonger was great. I agree with Chris. Did not like how they just did in Claw. I thought he was going to be a background character that was going to have more of an extended role in the MCU going forward, because he had a past in the MCU when you really think about it from this movie and the others. They completely shit the bed in the third act, both from the story standpoint and the CGI was just god awful. The battle for Wakanda was really disappointing. That, for something that was so hyped, that the third act just seems like they just ran out of steam and they just scrambled to get the CGI together. Really pathetic with the rhinos, the combat, all of that, the train scene, all of it was very disappointing to me. But when I really look at the movie overall, was it a bad movie? No. Was it a great movie? No. And I'm going to go ahead and throw this in. It's a lot. I'm going to echo this sentiment when we get to Captain Marvel. But this one, the third act, was a really big problem for me, especially from a CGI standpoint. When you look at Doctor Strange, a movie that we really say was, it was an okay movie, but the CGI was fucking phenomenal. This one was, okay, the first two acts, the CGI wasn't bad. It was pretty good. And then the third one, you're just like, what the hell is this? But I have to weigh that with the casting and the script, because the story was really good. I really liked the story itself. And I was pleasantly surprised with Killmonger. I was very worried when Michael B. Jordan was cast. I was like, I don't really see him as this character. I really can't buy into him as the big villain. But, when he shows up in the movie and as he evolves, the character evolves, I'm like, I can get the motivation. And then, yeah, I get it. Like, the surprise is he's the fucking little boy playing basketball. Okay, I like this. But then the third act, like I said, the fighting was just, it was awful. So for me, it's not a top 10 movie. It's more of, I'm going to put it in like where we have, where Joey and Chris have kind of Thor Ragnarok and that whole Thor cluster in the early teens. I'm going to say it's in that area. It's not a top 10. It's not even a top 11. It's below Doctor Strange for me, honestly.
Okay. Joey, you got anything to add?
No, they kind of mimic most everything to cover. But the only thing I did like the fight scene at the end. I don't know why. I kind of enjoyed that. The when everyone Wakanda's fighting each other, I thought it was kind of cool with the rhinos and stuff.
Yeah.
Warmonger, fucking awesome job.
You're just all over the place with the names today, man.
Yeah. But really, I think he had to find a way into Wakanda, and try to get their attention fast. And I think by killing Claw, they bring it in, which I really did like Claw though. Which kind of makes sense. That's how
They killed the token white man.
I know they did.
One of them.
The crazy man, and
one of the two Tolkien guys.
Scenes,
God damn it!
Yep.
One of my favorite scenes has to be the car chase scene where there's no music. It's like, what the hell do you think this is? It's a car chase. Turn some music on. I'm like, that's freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
The whole Korea bit, fantastic. I actually really liked that.
I liked that
was
part of it,
cool
yes.
shit. If the final act had been as good as that, this would be a top 5 movie.
Shit.
Yep.
Like, for real.
And how Suri is kind of like a money penny to me. I kind of like that aspect.
Yeah, she's
like
like
a
Q.
James Bond
Kind of like she's his Q, which I really dig.
Yeah.
So for me, Killmonger, awesome. Yeah. One of the best villains in the MCU. He's right up there with Vulture and Thanos for me. He's fantastic. Extremely well-rounded. Motivations make sense. Has a great, bit at the end. Obviously, he dies, whereas Vulture and Thanos, for now, alive. But his death made sense. Like, it wasn't like, oh, you just killed off a villain we wanted to see more of. Like, no, his arc had a fulfillment, and he died. And it made thematic sense in the movie, and it hit emotionally really, really well.
And sorry to interrupt.
Go for it.
It also it played into more his entire story at the end. Kind of drove and changed T'Challa, like Black Panther. It actually affected him. Not a lot of times you beat a villain and then it's just over, but this one is you beat a villain and then you think, well, some of what he just said was right, and I'm going to think very hard on this and change my ways based on a villain, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, he impacts the story just by being there instead of the physical actions that he takes, which is really cool. Chadwick Boseman, just effortlessly cool as T'Challa. Awesome. I love his character. He's fantastic.
Yes.
Winston Duke, great casting.
Winston Duke, I love that dude. I first saw him in Person of Interest. One of the best TV villains I've ever watched over especially a network show season, 22 episodes. God, he was great. Just super fucking menacing and dark. And then he shows up here and he's hilarious. Yeah. And now he's showing up in Jordan Peele's movies, and he's got just some great moments. He's fantastic. It's so awesome. Plus the story with him and I never say her name right, but the woman that plays is it Nikio?
Nikio.
Yeah, I can never say her name right. They're like backstory, but like, yeah, they were just like, they went to school together and they watched Avengers together in 2012. And they were like, oh, we want to be in Marvel movies, like, and they end up being acting together in the same Marvel movie. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool. Like
Yeah, it's cool.
that's some cool Hollywood stuff right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, the choreography in that final act, Jesus, just all over the place. Like people just show up in random parts like that don't make sense.
Yeah.
Okoye gets thrown like 300 feet apparently, and totally fine. Doesn't even phase it. Just gets right up. It's like fuck it. Like she was launched into the air and thrown 300 feet. Totally fine. Like what? That doesn't make any sense. How does the Jabari, like the last three, like Dora Milaje or whatever, they're surrounded
Yeah.
on all sides. How do the Jabari just show up and nobody sees them? They're surrounded. The fuck? Like, it's so random. Like, I would liken it to, like, again, we've been talking about a Game of Thrones a lot, but like Battle of the Bastards, how like the good guys get surrounded and then the Knights of the Vale ride in. There was no shot like that showed how they show up. They're just fucking there. You know? The choreography and the pacing of how the story takes place, it felt like they were just missing some scenes that explained how characters got where they were. And it was weird. Like, and it really took me out of the movie on my second watch where I was like, how the fuck did T'Challa just get there? Like, he sees Killmonger go to nearly kill his sister. He's forever the fuck away in the shot. Like, he's forever away. And, like, you see Killmonger lean back to start his sword thrust, and then bam, T'Challa's there. Like, he's the fucking Flash. It made no sense. It was, and then plus the weird CGI that just didn't land. And, like, they even hid it by being in darkness, which is how a lot of CG stuff is hidden. And it still came through as weird and off, like just not quite there. And Marvel has had some issues with that for me, like, especially as we get into Infinity War. Thor flying, similar thing. When he stops midair, it looks not entirely rendered. It looks like what we should give DC shit for with their flying stuff, you know? It looks weird. Like his hair isn't all the way finished, you know? You can like see it in a couple frames. I'm like, man, that looks weird. And you just notice it. And especially in Infinity War, because it's in full daylight. You really notice it. But yeah. Like, and for me, the other thing that didn't get hit was the soundtrack. I really, really loved the individual themes for Black Panther, for Killmonger, for Claw. Like, everybody had cool themes, and the soundtrack itself, with the African themes and stuff mixing in, was really nice. And the set design. Jesus. Yeah. This won the Oscar for that, right? I know it was nominated. Did it win?
It was nominated. I don't think it won.
I can't remember that. Which one was the movie that was the first one that won at the Oscars?
It was Black
Panther.
Doctor Strange? Was it Black Panther?
Yeah,
Doctor Strange
it just
got
won at
nominated
this
as well.
Oscars. This last Oscars.
Okay, so it was Black Panther.
Was
Doctor Strange also got nominated.
I think it might have been for cinematography that they won.
Okay.
They
I know
won
Doctor
an
Strange was
Oscar.
nominated for special effects.
Yeah, it was nominated, but the first one to win, I think, was Black Panther.
Black Panther. Okay.
Which is
You're
weird
probably
given the cultural relevance of the MCU. That
Yeah.
Black Panther, and don't get me wrong, Black Panther culturally very, very relevant movie, which is why it was there. But you know, yeah, it's just weird. The third act falls apart for me.
Yeah, it just was
in-
hard.
in
It was hard to get
spectacular
past
fashion,
that.
too. It's not like a serviceable third act. Like it's below the third act from Guardians for me. Guardians won that third act. It's
Yeah.
weird, crazy,
Yeah.
totally different direction. Whereas Black Panther, it's like, oh, you're going where I want you to go, but you're just not getting there. You know, like
Yep.
it's weird. So that really does keep it down for me. So let's get to the vote. Holy shit, this is gonna be a long podcast because we still have two more
Yes,
fucking
it
movies to
is.
go.
Yeah,
Hey,
I
it's
was
the
like,
biggest phase.
fuck.
So I'm sorry, Living Tribunal. I may have told you the wrong time, but if you have to leave, it's I totally
Yeah.
understand. Because I think the next two we should be in close agreement on after this.
Yeah.
So do we want to start? Do we want to start at
I don't
Homecoming?
even say top 5.
Should we just start at Homecoming?
Yeah. That works for me.
Okay.
That'll work.
All right. So currently, Homecoming is number 7 on the up-to-date rankings. So we'll start beneath Homecoming because I think we all agree it's beneath Homecoming.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So is it better than Ant-Man? I say no. Joey,
No.
Chris,
No.
Fusion.
No.
Is it better than Guardians 2? Joey,
No.
Chris. Sensing some hesitation.
That's a hard one.
Interesting.
but I will say yes.
Okay.
Wait, Fusion. That's who I'm on. Sorry.
Oh no, it's not.
I also say no. I do think it's close to Guardians 2, though. Mostly because Acts 1 and 2 are
It's in the
really, really
ballpark.
fun. Like how the tech
Yeah.
works and stuff. And the Korea scene is... Whew, that's some nice shit when she throws
really
the
good.
spear.
Yeah.
Frickin' just stops the car.
Pins the SUV. That's
so
awesome.
cool.
That was some really cool, inventive cinematography with
Yeah.
their tech. But
I like the virtual reality
we're on
driving
to
the car.
slot
That's
number
cool.
10, currently occupied by Avengers Age of Ultron. Is it better than that, Joey?
No.
Fusion.
I'm gonna say yes.
Interesting. Because I say no.
I'm also going to say no.
Okay.
But personally,
Like
for
I
me,
said, the first 2 acts were really good, and the casting and the script were great for me.
yeah,
It was just hard to say it's a top 5 movie because the third act was just so bad.
I agree.
Right.
Which is for me where it literally for me is I'm voting right now. For me, Black Panther is better than Captain America: The First Avenger at number 11.
Okay.
Chris, what do you think?
No.
Fusion.
Yes, it is.
Joey.
Ooh, no.
All right, we got a tie. We
It's
once
so weird
again,
because Guardians is lower than both of those other movies.
man,
so
this
I
is
had to
collective.
say no.
This is collective voting at its finest.
Yep.
This is democracy at work
Yeah.
in its all its beautiful glory. Living Tribunal, we need you once more. Perfectly timed.
I have returned. I did not expect to return for this one. All right, so we're asking if it is better than Captain America: The First Avenger. Is that
To
correct?
occupy the
Yes.
11th slot
Yes.
on the list.
So every time, I'm gonna let you guys know, every time that Captain America: First Avenger, the question has been asked, I've held up a little piece of paper here that says Cap 1 is not a good movie, by the way.
Oh,
So yes, it is better than Cap 1.
Oh, damn! We have a
Okay.
new number
Okay.
11.
Interesting.
This Joey,
New number 11.
Joey's gonna hate you.
I hurt.
I still remember, Joe. Remember that first live podcast we tried on BSN, and we did an MCU ranking ourselves again.
Yeah.
You were like, I remember my jaw hitting the floor when you gave me your top 5, and Cap was at number 4. I was like, what?
It's quite shocking.
The
yeah,
fuck?
Frickin'.
This was the week. I think of the week before Infinity War, right?
Yeah.
God,
We did everything for Infinity
you're a
War.
madman.
I am literally possibly insane. Yes.
Well, I've known that a long time, but now you're making sure the whole world knows it. So thanks.
Oh yeah.
All right, just updating the list. Any other thoughts to add on our Black Panther review there, Living Tribunal?
No, not really. You guys really hit it. It was one of I saw it in theaters opening weekend, and thoroughly enjoyed it for the first 2 acts, and then the third act came along, and I was like, cool. We've gone full cheesy superhero here. We might as well just like at that point, it's like they won you over with the first 2 acts, and they're like, all right, third act, just go with us as we get through this, and it's like, all right, I guess. So it's fine. It's an enjoyable movie, and that's the thing. Like even Captain America, which I'm giving some shit to here, is not a bad movie. I would say none of the Marvel movies, even Iron Man 2, has moments where I go, oh, that's fun. So
I agree.
it's tough especially when you're doing a group ranking like this.
I agree.
Yeah.
Right.
And this movie really made me want to see a spy movie in the MCU. Like I want Black Panther 2 to be a spy movie. That'd be awesome.
That's kind of what Winter Soldier was.
Yeah, but like I'm talking
For
like a
me.
James Bond type spy movie where
Oh, I
it's
gotcha,
all
I
about the world, like not like a thriller. Because Winter Soldier is more like a spy thriller.
Yeah.
You know, whereas
Yeah.
James Bond is more. You know, I maybe I want to say Mission Impossible more than anything.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
You know, like that kind of spy movie. It lead into the super fun of it. You know,
I gotcha.
the absurdity,
I
like
gotcha.
kind of like Skyfall or stuff like that. Lean into the absurdity of it. I think Black Panther would be the perfect universe for that. Because man, Boseman's just so fucking cool.
He is awesome.
That's the thing, man. Everything that they set up in this movie is done very well. And then it's just, like you said, the third act comes along
Yeah,
and
they
you're just like,
they set the pins perfectly,
yeah.
and then they just 7-10 split the shit.
Yep.
Like that's the best analogy I can give for it.
That's actually a really good analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, thank you, Living Tribunal. Hopefully,
Yep.
we only need you the one more time because I'm pretty sure the next one's going to be unanimous. If it's
I
not,
have to
will...
come back. I'm pulling this podcast over.
Okay. If you do, it'll probably be the final movie we're going to review. But I'm pretty sure Infinity War is going to be unanimous. So I hope we make you proud of our decision on that one.
Well,
I hope.
it's been a little rough so far.
I
Let's
know.
see if we can pick it up.
I know.
18 for
Oh, man.
Yeah.
All right.
This movie sucked ass.
Yeah, by the way, if that happens, you won't have to call in. You won't have to call me in. I'll just jump in.
Okay.
I'll solve that problem real quick.
No, he won't jump into the call. He'll jump into my window and then he'll just beat me senseless.
Yeah. Basically,
back
you're
to-
never,
back on
Chris,
the source.
Chris
Goodbye.
you're never going to be able to visit the RT office again.
No, I really won't.
Yep. All right. We're moving on to Infinity War. Of course, the part one of what's coming out later this week when we post this podcast, which is Endgame. This launched, or I should say debuted, April 27th, 2018, with a just dominant box office performance of $2,480,000 at the box office. And to put this in perspective, the second most money that has been made by an MCU movie at theatrical box office, not counting Blu-ray sales, etc., is the original Avengers at $1.5 billion, and that had 2 theatrical runs. It had a run in May and a run in September, because I saw it 9 times that year. It had 2 runs to get $1.5 billion. Infinity War clocked over 2 by itself. 1 run.
Yep.
Fucking
And
insanity.
it was still running by the time it came out on Blu-ray and DVD.
Like, it was that popular that they were just like, fuck it, keep it in theater. Like,
yeah.
Avatar had a very similar run, too, where it just never left theaters.
No.
And Avatar came back out, too. Avatar had a second
They
run,
had a
too.
re-release a year later. That's
Yeah.
why their numbers are inflated. So when people talk about Avatar, I say fuck Avatar because they had a full theatrical re-release a year after it debuted.
Yeah. And, like, that's the perspective with which Infinity War just dominated the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do think... I think if you count it as a single theatrical run, I think it's the biggest, isn't it?
Counted for inflation, I think.
They just Gone with the Wind more?
I think Gone with the Wind was more.
Which,
I
again,
think when
that
you
one's got to
count
give
for
it a
inflation.
caveat. That's Great Depression era inflation. That's some fucking weird shit.
Yep.
So that one gets a caveat because of that whole thing, which I think a lot of people forget about it. Like, yeah, the dollar was, like, fucked when Gone with the Wind came out.
Yep.
That's a little wrong kind of nerdy for this podcast.
Yeah, we're talking economics here.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Might have to get
okay.
Joel Heyman on the next one. Maybe Aaron could help out with that. We'll see what happens. Or Living Tribunal. Sorry, I haven't actually said his name.
Yeah,
Said this
jeez.
whole time.
Just come in and say no.
Okay. Anyway. What's everyone think? And feel free to jump in whenever. Just call your own shots on these. And since we're on the... Oh, wait, shit. There's 2 more movies after this. Holy fuck. I forgot about
Yeah.
Ant-Man.
Oh,
Jesus.
Oh my god, yeah.
I gotta go eat dinner, guys. Come on.
Can we just all say, this movie's awesome. Let's go.
So good.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, this movie, all other movies except for one for me, can suck its dick. It's that good. It's that good of a movie.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't have worked.
Start to finish, fucking good.
Count
Put
the
it like that.
moving parts. There's how many?
so
There's what?
many.
10 franchises in this movie.
Yep.
I actually no, because Ant-Man's not in this one. So it's a 9 different individual franchises: Cap,
Yeah.
Guardians, Thor, Iron Man, Spider-Man,
Black
Black Panther, and a
Doctor
few
Strange.
others. Yeah, Strange. I'm forgetting some other stuff.
Hulk.
Yeah, Hulk 2. Like all these different moving parts, and they all feel perfect. Like we're literally just picking up where we left off. Like we didn't miss
They
a beat.
follow 4 or 5 different stories. They technically follow Rocket and Thor.
Yep.
They follow Cap and Vision and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They follow
Gamora and Thanos.
and
Yep.
Thanos.
And then Tony and
They follow
Tony Strange.
Strange and
Yeah.
Spider-Man, yeah.
And then just the Guardians after it's Gamora. So they follow 5 different stories, and it feels like a collective story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's amazing.
Pacing is great. Scripting speed is phenomenal. And for me, this one of the single most greatest action moments in cinema for me in my 41 years on this planet is when that moment when Thor hits Wakanda it is fucking lit. That is
Yes.
like a WrestleMania spectacular entrance, like when Stone Cold comes into the glass fucking breaks.
like when Living Tribunal shows up to this podcast.
Exactly. Well, hold up now. I don't want to anger the Living Tribunal.
Yeah.
But it is one of the greatest cinematic moments I've experienced when the Bifrost hits Wakanda and you see Stormbreaker fly around and he catches it. It's just like fuck
with
yeah.
with the Avengers theme playing slowly and then picking up and ramping up to full speed when he catches it. I watch it at least once a week on YouTube. It's fucking perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
I
The
literally
Russos did a phenomenal job with this movie. From start to finish, phenomenal. It had its deaths. It had its victories, and in between, it had its returns. It had its reunions. Everything about it, the pacing, it's just everything about this movie from start to finish was just phenomenal for me. They did an awesome job with this movie, and they left you you knew there was going to be two parts, and you're going to say, yeah, well, when the Matrix Reloaded came out in Revolutions, we knew we were getting a buffer movie, and it really was a buffer movie. But this movie really, it's not really a buffer movie. It's encased in its own little world, and it fits perfectly.
Yeah.
It does.
The crazy thing for me was when I went into the movie, the only thing that I remember hearing about it was they were planning it to be 2 parts, and then there was a plan to bring it down to 1 part.
Yeah, because this was right at the same time there was a lot of rumors going around Justice League too about 2 or 3 movies, and then Avengers also. Hey, are we going to do 1 or 2 movies? Yeah.
Sure.
I did not hear that they broke it back up into 2 parts. So the entire movie, I'm like,
shit.
how does this get resolved? And then the end happened. I'm like, this is 2 parts? Because I totally kept away from trailers, from reading anything. And it made the end of that movie just hit so much harder because I'm like, oh, they lost.
Fuck.
I was like, that's awesome. I cannot wait now.
Exactly.
So to go in not realizing that it was 2 parts, because the last I had heard it was just going to be 1, it made the experience just so much better.
I have don't be shocked if Endgame, because of Infinity War, is the first ever with inflation $3 billion box office hit.
Wouldn't surprise me. At least 2.5.
Don't be shocked.
Yeah.
But don't be shocked because it may have a long run, especially with how the Endgame has to end. May just keep people. You guys have talked about going and seeing it like 6 times next weekend.
Yeah.
I mean that just tells you that that's just the fanboys. Imagine the casual movie going person that says the Russos did a great job to really end this phase of this era of Marvel movies. Okay, if it ends the way they think it's going to be, entertaining and worth it, it may come close to $3 billion, guys.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Like here, for as an example, me and Joey, we live fairly middle of nowhere in Iowa, and the screenings that they've got for this movie are absolutely insane. I want to say they're only showing 2 other movies this whole week, and it's a 7-theater.
Yeah.
Like, they've pulled every other movie for everything. There's nothing else listed that I can see other than
That's
Shazam.
crazy.
I worked at a movie theater when Infinity War came out, and we had 8 theaters, and 5 of them were always showing Infinity War.
And this is good. I think this is on an even bigger level because it shattered Infinity War's ticket sale record in 6 hours.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, I think, a stark jump. Like Fusion, I don't think you're wrong. I think it's going to hit 2.5. I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest if it rockets past that.
$3 billion is going to be a hard task, but 2.5 I could definitely see. And when it starts eking over that, people are going to be like, "Oh shit, we may have a $3 billion movie." Seriously,
Yeah.
Fuck.
Especially when you account for international.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just God.
It's going to be crazy.
Infinity War is so freaking good though. Bringing it back to it.
Oof.
Yeah. I forgot to be freaking when I rewatched it, how many people stories it follows, and you never feel like the story didn't match up or anything at all, or plots,
Yeah.
should say.
And
Fuck.
I don't know. It's just it's so weird that we've had 2 movies in between this big thing,
Yeah.
and yet we've not ever forgot that Endgame was going to happen.
Yeah, they have rebuilt their hype train so amazingly well. That's god damn.
And the crazy part was the 2 movies that came in between had nothing to do with Endgame.
Yeah, not really.
Ant-Man and the Wasp was its own little story, and Captain Marvel was a story before even Iron Man. So it's the second oldest movie, technically. There's first Avenger and then Captain Marvel chronologically.
Yeah.
Frick.
So it's crazy that two movies that don't have anything, that have a little bit to do with Endgame if you stay past the credits and everything.
Yeah.
Those movies are keeping us hyped for Endgame, which is crazy.
All right, so I feel it's time to call a vote.
Let's do it.
Is it a unanimous number one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
It's hard.
Can't fight
It's
you
hard
there.
between me and Winter Soldier, but I think
Because, I
it
mean,
beats it.
you're right. Winter
I
Soldier.
so many things
I think Winter
involved.
Soldier's
Yeah.
nearly a perfect movie. It's a spy thriller, action movie, superhero movie, all rolled into one perfect package, right?
Yep.
But man, Infinity War, the behemoth that it is, I can't not put it at number one for how well executed it was.
Yeah, that's the thing that does it for me.
You know,
Infinity War is 1, and 1A is Winter Soldier for me.
I
that's
don't
how
disagree
close
with
it
that.
is.
That's
It's so close. It's so close. It really is.
That's a really good way to put it. So,
yeah,
one of our intrepid group needs to leave soon. Like, do you have a timeline? Because seriously, I can put the kibosh on the reviews and just let's go to vote on Ant-Man and Captain Marvel if we have to leave.
I mean, honestly, I need about a 10-minute head start. So if it's in the next 5 to 10 minutes, I can stay. Yeah.
All right, let's power through this.
But I'll
guys.
be honest with you, the next two movies are really short for me, honestly, because they didn't blow me away.
As Chris said, they were very much not filler, but more either setup or for me, like Ant-Man, emotional palate cleanser. Like
Yeah, exactly.
very much just to let's digest what happened. Let's put it in the back of our minds and just sit back and watch some good movies, right?
Yep.
Take it from a universe-ending thing to
A guy who shrinks and
the
grows
small town thing.
and gets stuck in a school at the size of a 4-year-old, which is fucking
And
hilarious.
I'll jump into Ant-Man and Wasp. I'll just let you know. Casting was good. Story was Ghost was the villain, the whole villain side of it was like you said, it's a palate cleansing movie. So for me, it's gonna be in the 20s mostly because when I really think about like the impact of the other movies, like in terms of the MCU, they have much more of an impact, except for the back end and the Easter eggs and the endings to Ant-Man and Wasp. That was really the only relevance it had for me was in the ending into Endgame. So I'll be honest with you, I put it well into the 20s for Ant-Man and Wasp, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely down there. I think the comedy in this movie was fantastic. I mean, you bring back Luis and
Dude,
I'm gonna laugh.
Luis is the best.
He's hilarious. Yeah,
Goddamn man. And if we, in the next 6 days, don't get a Luis MCU recap official from Marvel, God,
Oh my God.
damn it. They fucking
I
missed
need
the
that in my
boat.
life.
You guys remember when Samuel L. Jackson recapped Game of Thrones?
Yeah, it was hilarious.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
I want
Awesome.
Marvel to do that with Luis. Everybody does. They should just do it. It'd be amazing.
Yep.
Or they should do that for Phase 4. Like when they're going to kick off Phase 4, like whatever conference they have, we're like, hey, here's our next slate of movies, guys. I want
Have
Luis
Luis
to
do it.
show up and be like, yo, let me tell you about what the Marvel that was, and like have him go through the whole thing. It'd be amazing. It'd bring the house down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm just updating the list
so-
here, but we're going to
right.
vote while I'm doing this.
Ready to vote?
Joey, do you have anything to add? Because we didn't really get to you.
No.
Okay.
I don't think we should even start in the top 10. for
I
this
agree.
one.
Yeah.
Let's put it...
Agreed.
Okay, that's weird. Sorry, something weird in my chat right now. Not a big deal. Here, I'm almost done. I'm almost done updating. All right, let's start with Let's go with Ultron. Let's go with the worst Avengers movies, which is at number 11.
Okay.
Is
Okay.
Ant-Man and the Wasp better than that? Fusion.
No.
Chris.
No.
Joey.
No.
Okay. Is it better than Black Panther? Chris.
No.
Fusion.
No.
Joey.
No.
I actually would have said yes because I think the third act is actually a lot of fun.
Okay.
Plus, when he goes big, he's like, it's really fun. Plus, Randall Park, and just his fascination with Paul Rudd's like magic tricks gets me every time.
Oh yeah.
Gets me every
It's
time.
hilarious.
How does he do it? Oh, so good. But okay, we're moving on to slot 13, Cap 1. Is it better than that, Chris?
No.
Ooh, okay, Joey.
No.
Fusion.
No.
I clearly would have said better than that, but doesn't count. We're on to Doctor Strange. Fusion.
No.
Chris.
Yes.
Joey.
No.
Ah,
Tribunal.
it's more fun than Doctor
Tribunal's
Strange, but
available.
is it a better movie? Those are different things. Because Aquaman's super fucking fun, but I wouldn't say it's a good movie.
Here's how I say it in that situation.
Doctor Strange
watch
doesn't
one of
have
them
a
right
Sonny
now. What
Birch
do you
character,
watch?
so I'm going to have to say no. I'm going to say no, it's not better than Strange. So we're on to
Okay.
slot 15, Thor. Is it better than Thor? Joey.
Yes.
Fusion.
I'm gonna say yes.
Chris.
That's a yes.
Universal, we have a new number 15. That is Ant-Man
Alright,
and
sweet.
the Wasp.
Here we
So
go.
we're on to the last
Okay.
movie here
Woo.
in Phase 3 that is not including Endgame and Far From Home because we're not there yet, obviously. This is recording
No.
in April. Before Endgame.
420.
Yeah, just place. Hold on. We've now ranked 20 movies. We're on the 21st. Just got to do a little updating on the list so that way I can save my what the fuck was that on the phone beat? Thanks Facebook. I didn't need to know I was friends with someone for 12 years.
How dare you, Facebook?
No, wait, what was that? We're going Ant-Man. Is it Ant-Man or Ant-Man?
And
And
Dash Man.
Dash.
I thought
Man.
so. It's weird how
Except
they
it was
do their
Spider-Man.
Dash Mans. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Spider-Man, same.
Ant-Man and the
Fuck,
Wasp.
it is.
Okay. That clocks in at number 15. So, Captain Marvel. My boilerplate thoughts. Number 1, it's the MCU's Solo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, Solo not a terrible movie. Not a very good Star Wars movie. But not a terrible movie.
Yeah,
Ben
I
Mendelsohn.
liked Thor a lot.
Ben Mendelsohn is basically a mirror Stanley Tucci. He's awesome in everything he's in. Plays a great antagonist character. And then the turn to him being a good guy at the very end. Really fun subversion of expectations of where the hardcores thought they were doing with the Skrulls. I really, really dug that. Weird as hell use of licensed music. It's like someone thought, oh, let's be like Guardians. But they didn't really get why James Gunn picked the songs he did. Like, he was very deliberate on that.
Yep.
This movie didn't feel like that.
Yeah.
It felt like they were half-assing the music. Like, some of the songs weren't even out yet when the movie was set. Like, that didn't really do much for me, even though it's clearly they thought this was going to be a bigger thing with the music. You know, that it would put you in the seat of the 90s more than it did. And that, I think, is it's a big misstep for me. And much like Doctor Strange, this one feels like a Phase 1 movie. It really does.
Yeah.
Not that that's an entirely bad thing. It's just we've been having this great run of just awesome movies with awesome endings or moments, and this one just didn't have those consistently enough for me to put it near the top, at least even of Phase 3, let alone the whole of the MCU. So I'm hoping, because they shot this after Endgame, so I'm hoping the whole muted aspects of her personality are intentional and that she's going to be way more awesome in Endgame. Plus, she's in the hands of better directors in Endgame, in the Russos, because they did awesome stuff with Thor and Cap by themselves, who, before the Russos took over the reins of those movies, didn't really do much, for people. They really weren't vibing at the box office of their own, and then they go into the Avengers movies with better directors, and holy shit, they're awesome.
Yep.
So maybe she gets that treatment, and we just haven't seen it because they were kind of shot out of order. So, we'll see. Those are my thoughts on it. Oh, by the way, Ant-Man came out July 6, 2018, clocked in at 622 million. Captain Marvel was March 8th of this year, 2019, and made a little over $1 billion at the box office. So, now the facts are out of the way. What do you guys all think about Captain Marvel?
Good movie,
Forgettable.
not great.
Yeah.
For me, it's forgettable.
Yeah. Forgettable. Okay. For me, my biggest problem was the director felt like she didn't really know where to lead Brie Larson in terms of her character. There are moments where she tries to be funny, but she's also very dry. But it's not in terms of it doesn't flow very well. Very inconsistent. The pacing of the movie was very off. It felt like stuttering throughout the entire movie. Sam Jackson was good. I needed more Coulson, of course. I was very disappointed with his role in the movie.
Same here.
but I echo your sentiments, Warburg. This was a marketing orgy. Like, this was fucking everywhere, from the Nine Inch Nails, the
Yeah.
Blockbuster. Like, it was almost as bad as that scene in the first Wayne's World where they're just having an advertisement orgy on screen, like just everything to make a point. It felt like that from start to finish. Well, I can't say that. When she landed in Earth, on Earth, from start to finish, it was just an overabundance of marketing, and it was just really, really bad. Just, it wasn't done very well, poorly executed. I'm fine with Brie Larson. I think she's a great actress, and I think she'd be a great. I was happy for her as the cast as as Carol Danvers, but I think they kind of left that a mystery far too long. Who she really was on Earth. I think they dragged that along a little too far. Marvel, the Marvel, the reveal on Marvel, a little disappointing in terms of how they handled that as well. I just like there's just so much to be left on the table with this movie, and I was a little disappointed because I thought it would be so much more. Honestly,
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, for the whole much more thing, I actually thought Wonder Woman was a lot better movie, and that's what it gets compared to it a lot. It really does. Fair or not, it's going to get compared.
And
to
I
Wonder
get
Woman.
why culturally it's compared to it, but it's not. I mean, Patty Jenkins just did a phenomenal job with Wonder Woman.
Yes.
There's honestly the middle act of Wonder Woman holds up with anything the MCU's done.
Yep.
It's awesome.
Yep.
Awesome. All right, what's the rest of our cohort think about Captain Marvel?
I just think that it just didn't grip me like ever. Like I just didn't enjoy it all the way through. There are some parts that are like, oh, that's funny, or oh, that's cool. But overall, it was just like, okay, I just sat there for 2 hours and watched a movie. All right. It wasn't like, oh yes, that was a good time at the movies. It was just, oh, okay, I just went to the movies. Cool. It was forgettable. Just not fantastic.
Okay, Joey, what do you got?
Good. I think they could pick some better music from the 90s.
And plus, her music should have been the 80s. Come on, get us some AC/DC, people. You got the fucking
dude,
money.
that'd been
You got
awesome.
Zeppelin for
Jeez.
Ragnarok. Get us some AC/DC.
That'd been pretty solid. Other than that, she's pretty OP. I never really felt like she was ever gonna die, really. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of my thoughts.
All right.
Kind of
Well, since Fusion needs to leave,
Yes.
can you stick around for the vote, Fusion? Where's he going?
But I guess he's gone.
No, I'm here. Okay,
Okay,
Oh,
we're going to vote quick. And
Let's vote.
once we do the vote, if our Living Tribunal would grace us one last time for a little wrap-up, I would greatly appreciate it, because Fusion does have to bounce right after this. So,
Yep.
let's get to the vote. So, where should we start? Should we start at Cap? Because that seems to where we want to. It seems to be a dividing line for us.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Cap 1.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, which is currently slot 13. Is it better than that? Joey,
no.
Chris,
No.
Fusion?
No.
I'm also a no. Doctor Strange, which is what I compared it to. Is it better than that? Chris,
No.
Joey,
No.
Fusion.
No.
Okay, how about Ant-Man and the Wasp? It's a preceding movie. Fusion,
I'm gonna say no.
Joey,
No.
Chris.
Nope.
It's a no for me too. How about Thor? Joey.
Yes.
Okay, we got our first dissenting vote. I don't think it's better than. I think it's equal to Thor, but I view Thor a little differently because of the movies that came after. You know, whereas she doesn't have that yet.
Fair.
So I don't think it's above Thor yet. So I'm gonna say no for now. Fusion.
I'm gonna say no.
All right, Chris for posterity.
I'm also saying no.
All right, how about is it better than the Dark World Thor Dose? Joey.
Yes.
Fusion.
Yes, it is.
Chris.
I would say no.
It's a yes for me. So that is where Captain Marvel's gonna slot. It is gonna drop in at number 17.
It's definitely in that area for me. Like, it's not.
That's not gonna make you lose sleep at night.
Yeah, all of that area is just kind of like they just mesh together. Like,
They're all they're good. They're
all-
okay movies.
yeah, they're all Marvel movies. It's not like I'm gonna hate them, but
All right. I would
Yeah.
wager.
they're not my loves.
I would wager that we're gonna see a new number 1 next time, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. 1 and 2. That's some good movie shit right there, man. That's some all-time, not
yeah.
even comic book movies,
Yep.
but just movies, period.
Yep.
Stuff
I
right
mean,
there.
if Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was here, that'd be my number one.
Hey, that would be in the conversation.
Really good.
We should have one of the things I do want to do for Just BSing, just a little behind-the-scenes thing, I want to do a top 10 movie podcast. Like, we pick
Okay.
our top 10s. Like, a top 10, maybe we do one top 10 episode a month or something of TV, movies, books, games, whatever. I think it'd be really fucking cool. So we can talk about that for sure, Chris, if you want to be on that. That's in the works. Fusion, I believe you have to head.
Yes, thank you very much, guys. I do want to say that when we look at all 22 movies, none of these are awful movies. They're all good movies, and I will say this: to get to this phase of the MCU, they all did their job in terms of they executed things properly, which was I'm okay with. So there wasn't this movie's awful for me. They were all like, okay, they're okay. Thor, Dark World, Iron Man's okay, but they executed where they needed to be in terms of the direction of the MCU to get where we are now at Endgame, and I'm okay with that, guys. And with that said, thank you very much for having me on, guys. Sorry I have to leave early, but I appreciate you listening to me banter about this stuff.
Hey,
Appreciate
man,
it.
that's why we have you on.
All good.
Thank you for
Yeah.
your service, good sir.
Yes.
2 hours and 20 minutes was probably longer than any of us thought we were going to be here.
I
Same.
thought it'd be
Yeah.
close. I thought it'd be closer to phase 2
Shit.
because I was trying to go quick, but man, some of the conversations were just super fun. So,
Yeah.
Mr. Living Tribunal, could you come out from beyond one more time?
I love it every single time.
I know.
Yes! Discord for me keeps cutting
playing
out,
Holy
but I
Shit
think I
Balls.
know what he's playing. Oh my god.
Yes, I have returned. I'm sorry that Fusion had to go, but I understand. This has been a long damn podcast.
It was so long.
You are a champion for staying around.
Yeah.
Just to be
I could not thank you enough, Aaron.
intermediary.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. Honestly, it's been a ton of fun sitting here listening in. Disagreeing, agreeing quietly. I'm sure. I'm sure Wartburg will have a ton of fun watching my cam.
Oh, it's gonna be a blast.
When I'm not trying to find By the way, every movie that came up, just in case I had to get called in, I was quickly going through wrestling themes, going, which one kind of matches what they're talking about. So
you guys don't know.
I was like, I need one for each. So yeah, so there's a lot of me leaning off camera, but when I am on camera listening, there's a lot of times where one of you will say something and I just look at the camera and shake my head or give a thumbs up. So
when you had to come in for Doctor Strange, you were scrambling for a song. 'Cause you had no clue that was going to be
I was
the
just
first
like, oh,
one you
crap.
coming up.
Dude, yeah, you were not kidding about bringing the fire. That was fantastic. So,
Listen, it has to be done because I'm not on podcasts often. For a couple of reasons. One is because I am very busy with my normal day job. And two, it's also just like I don't get that opportunity at work. So when I get asked to be on a podcast or on a stream or whatever, just know that when I come in, I'm going to be obnoxious, and I hope you're okay with that.
oh,
You're
of
going to
course,
be the Flair.
Totally am.
yeah,
I had Flair. I had Ric Flair's theme up
Nice.
for something.
nice.
I don't remember which one it was, but I was like, just in case, I have it ready to go.
All right, so I dropped the final ranking that we have pre-Endgame. What are your thoughts? Like, anything jump out at you as insane, or something that's like perfectly placed? What do you think?
Yeah, why is
Overall, I
Incredible
think
Hulk so low?
I actually think it's a very good list. I think you guys, even doing group votes like this, especially the way that you guys do it, is a little daunting. I think Iron Man for me is a little high. I like the movie, but like to me, Spider-Man: Homecoming would be higher on the list. But that's the great thing about all of these movies, as Fusion was saying. Like, none of them are bad, and they're all in these great. It's this great thing where different movies resonate with different people. There's probably a reason Black Panther didn't resonate with the five of us as much as it did with some other audiences. Same thing with Captain Marvel, and that's fine. Like, that's okay. But it's the MCU is the greatest. To me, it is the greatest cinematic creation, because it has taken what we see on TV or in comic books, and put massive amounts of money behind it and put it up on a screen for everyone to enjoy, and that has pretty much made nerd culture cool.
Yeah.
And so that
And
is
not to
that
mention,
is
they were also really good.
Yeah, it's like I said earlier, even Thor: The Dark World, which in my opinion is probably the worst of the MCU movies. There's still like if it's on TV when I flip it through, I'll go, all right, I'll watch this. Why not?
Yeah, it's been a crazy fun ride through now, as of time of this recording, 21 movies, plus a couple shows. Well, more like 6 shows, but one of them was terrible. Inhumans. Yeah.
I
God.
wonder if we're reaching if you wanted to watch all of these movies straight through, I'm wondering if we're reaching the 48-hour mark.
No, it's like 56 hours.
Yeah.
Is it really?
AMC's doing a
That's
marathon. I
crazy.
think it starts Monday night.
Holy fuck.
And then they take like a couple of different intermissions. I think maybe it starts Tuesday, but I'm pretty sure it's Monday night into Wednesday, and then they're gonna do like a Wednesday special event for
Holy
Endgame.
balls.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's also an incredibly expensive ticket.
Yeah.
Yeah,
God.
it's insane. Like people that would do that are absolute, just insane people.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a level of fandom I will never have.
Yeah, and a level of money and
For
time
sure.
I can't afford.
Yeah.
Yes.
Frick.
Because if I'm gonna take my time off, I'm gonna be coming down to Austin just for our takes. Oh, did you see that? Yeah, they moved Spider-Man up, so I'm gonna be in town like super early, so we might be able to go to the Alamo really early instead of
Wait, is it
during.
coming out
our-
in,
they moved it
July?
up 3 days.
Nice.
They
dude,
moved
let's
it up to a Monday release. Think of the box office that's
A
gonna make
Monday
opening
release?
week. It starts on Monday.
Dang.
That's so weird.
Oh, it's crazy. All right, well, we are now nearing 2.5 hours, which is about the runtime of Infinity War in the first place. So thank you everyone for hanging out. Phases 1 through 3, the review have been absolutely amazing. If you're watching this on YouTube, leave a comment with your top list. Obviously, it's probably gonna be a lot different than ours, and that's what's great about this stuff, as Aaron alluded to. It's it's art. Everyone has got different perspectives on what was good and what was not, what hit for them and what didn't. I love having these conversations, which is why this podcast exists. That's why Bottom Shelf Nerds exists, so we can have conversations like this with friends and people that we've gotten to know over the years. It's always a lot of fun. So yeah, thanks for watching. We'll have an Endgame review. We'll get the logistics of that after everyone has seen Endgame in what they think is an appropriate amount of time. Some of us might want to see it more than once, some not.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Fusion may also, as I said, be doing an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. little MCU sidebar, because we're both big fans of the show, before the final season drops, or second to final season drops in June. But other than that, that does it here for Bottom Shelf Nerds. If you want to watch more of us do stuff, we have a live podcast that we do over at twitch.tv/Bottom Shelf Nerds called Just BSing. Just bottom shelving, which is, I think, a fun little turn. And it's about an hour podcast that way. Joey and me put on with possible guests. So, would love to see you over there for that. So, thank you, Chris, for hanging. Obviously, not here, but Fusion, thank you for being an awesome guest for the last 2, because you weren't on the second one. And our Living Tribunal for this episode, Mr. Aaron Porter.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you guys so much for having me. I'd love to come back again at some point if you need somebody to come in and teach you jabronis a little bit about, how
Hell
to
yeah,
rank
man.
stuff.
I will keep you in the loop because
Hell yeah.
you definitely brought it. I appreciate
Love to have
that.
you.
Yes.
Bring great energy.
Also, if anyone's watching this, which, come on, it's only going to be like 5 people, you should go follow Aaron because he's awesome.
Please do. And also, you can check out a lot of my work, actually all of my official work right now. For Inside Gaming, which is under Rooster Teeth. So,
by the way,
yeah.
I want to say this in person. That Spartan Rangers joke in that fucking Metro trailer video you did. Oh my god, I fucking
man.
lost it.
That's
It's
really
perfect.
Thank you. That was actually one of the first jokes I wrote for that.
so good.
I was
I will link it to you guys so you all see it because it was some top notch
thanks.
shit. But yeah, that wraps it up. I've rambled on along this outro enough. Everyone have a fantastic week and go see Endgame because it's going to be cinematic history. So go watch it.
Yes.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.